And we're live while John's little window is making beeping noises there. But yeah, everybody, welcome back to another session of Werewolf: The Dark Ages Sveriges Elite campaign. And we're gonna pick up the game right where we left off last time, with all the player characters being on top of the tree in the penumbra with the bear spirit. Who was in the glowing moonlight, letting them through his kind of intermediary essence into the realm where the totem spirit of the bear resides, in order to meet with the bear, the same way that John's One Fang originally met with the bear. And I originally described that it feels like your molecules get scrambled up and swirled into this whirlpool of mental cognition of this bear spirit, just, taking your inner selves into the beyond with him. And you, just like when you went into the innermost being of the lake spirit, again, like you kind of swirl like through some sort of a whirlpool of some sort of a physical distortion of some sort. You kind of, your all of your beings reform and recreate your physical selves in this other world. The three of you, all at the same time, appear in this new world that you've never been before, for the exception of One Fang, of course. But he has very vague memories of this place to begin with, because of him being such a small pup when he visited here. His mental capabilities weren't strong enough to really have as strong of a memory of his visit here as you would have this time, as you're all fully grown Cleoths. But as you arrive here, it's all of your beings just spiraling back into your physical construct selves, as you, all of you, feel this very lively, very fresh, moist grass beneath either your fingers and toes or your paws, as you arrive into this new world, this new plane of being. And immediately, the first sense for all of you, as you're here after being scrambled all around the cosmos, as you gain your faculties, the first feeling you feel the air just drilling into your through your nostrils and mouths, kind of in the way that if you had a breath mint or something, just this kind of, it just kind of glides through, kind of like if it's a really frosty weather or something like that. You feel your breath just squeezing, like rushing through inside of you and coming out, exhaling in this warm vapor, this mist, just like in winter time. This as you lift your heads, all of you, and look around you to see this wilderness, this vast, beautiful, bountiful wilderness all around you. You see open plains of green grass flowing in the wind and having this morning dew of moist on them. You see riverbeds, the rocky riverbeds with flowing water going down hillsides into these down streams of pouring water, with this flowing watery mists coming off of it as it's just in front of you, and leading down into a valley where you see lots of gigantic, not the right word, well, they're much larger than your average brown bear, but they're not as big as the bear spirit, for example, but basically kind of like cave bears, the extinct species of cave bears, on the banks of this flowing river, fishing for for salmon there. You see mountain ranges all around you, these kind of like Swiss Alp looking mountain ranges all around you where snow covers like the 2/3 of the mountains all around you. You see all sorts of forest valleys in the mountain range between all these mountains. You see mountains that go so tall that they pierce through the cloud-filled sky. The sky is completely filled with thick clouds that look like snow formations and patterns and such. And it's this. If you had any ailments, if you had any lingering little kind of annoying pains in your teeth or in your joints or in a shoulder or back or something like that, it's all like completely gone. This place has this like this feel of this kind of like perfect place to meditate type of thing. Your bodies are completely like newborn, healed. This plane that you're in is completely like this kind of a paradise-like wilderness, this kind of a sanctuary of wildlife that you see before you, and it's very this kind of butterflies fly in front of your face with water dew just sprinkling off of them as they flap in front of you, and as you look around, you see packs of like those prehistoric caribous with those giant horns on them that look like completely disproportioned, and you see them in the edge of forests in the valleys, in the foots of those mountain ranges here and there, and it's just this kind of a, as all of you arrive here, it's this kind of moment of silence that all of you have as you see this very pleasing, natural sanctuary in front of you as you've arrived.
Curious Mind will probably be in awe and look around, and her eyes and all her senses, but her eyes clearly are like constantly darting up and down to take in every little bit that she sees here. And depending on how interested the others are, seeing how quick her mind works, she's probably the first to go on, like, let's go explore, and she wants to head out.
Red Claw is going to, when she steps foot in this realm, she's going to find herself feeling this sense of relaxation that she's never felt before for a very long time. And normally when she's around anybody, she's keeping herself tense. Her muscles are at least twitching a few times, always preparing herself for any kind of physical engagement. But now for the first time she finds herself relaxed, as if her whole body is asleep, and yet it's not. It's this mode of that she can let her guard down, and she actually feels like she's breathing for the first time as she takes in every breath of this fresh wafting air, looking upon this sanctuary of unbelievable majesty and beauty that has befelled her. She is quite speechless as she gazes upon its grandeur.
One Fang sort of having seen the eternity that the bear had shown him last time, but not showing him specifically this place of pure nature, just purity of everything living and life and everything in general, forces One Fang to just kind of almost drop to his knees and not cry, but almost weep with joy, just tears coming down his face as he, reaches out to the earth and just kind of grabs a hold of it, and almost, residual from his old religion, he kind of says a prayer just to the bear itself. Thank you for showing this to me. And then he kind of looks up at his friends to see what they're doing.
Yeah, it's as you kind of dig your hands into the soil, it's like you almost feel like you feel your heart beating against the bear claw that the bear has bestowed upon you as his totem. It's pressed against your chest, and you feel your heartbeat against it, and you feel like this just this kind of a spirit, emanating from it through you, and you feel like when you dig your hands into the soil and say the prayer, you feel like the heartbeat of hundreds of thousands of little all sorts of walks of life that live in the underbrush underneath the greenery there. You just feel this kind of presence of all sorts of living creatures and this harmony that exists in this place, and it has this kind of effect that you described yourself having there.
Curious Mind will probably hop down from, I'm imagining we're on a bit of a hillside or something, and kind of sliding down towards the water where the bears are. And she's a bit giddy and rubbing up against trees and now and then dropping and rolling over in the grass or in the shrubbery and that sort of stuff, and just making her way there, but not at all in an efficient way, just taking in everything and just lapping and breathing and kind of expecting her friends to follow, but not really caring if they do, because what could possibly go wrong here? Eh? We're in no danger whatsoever.
Yeah, this kind of puppy dog-like glee. Yeah. Okay, what about the rest?
Red Claw is going to slightly snap out of it, and when she does, she's going to look over at One Fang, and she's going to just say, kind of out loud in general, "Oh, how I envy those who walk among the spirits in these lands, for they get to see this sight many a time. Such a rarity for me. Beautiful, is it not?" And then she says that she begins to transform through all of her stages into Lupus, and then slowly begins to make her way outward to just to explore, just to experience this living euphoria as it is.
One Fang, as she says that, he sees her transforming and kind of smiles, stands up, and then as she's just taking off, he probably gets into his Lupus form and leaps forward, nips at her ass end, and then runs past and says, "Let's not waste it then."
As you're running around, it's again, it's very very much like even you who are born as humans, it kind of fills you with this kind of puppy dog this kind of a glee and joy, and you're all kind of running around in this kind of panting through your mouth type of thing, and it's like it's a joyous sight to watch, and for One Fang, the memories you have of visiting this place before, the earliest memories of being in this realm, you were gliding in the air, just flying in the mountain range, and then almost like right away meeting the bear itself. You have this whole running around and having this realm feel like an actual physical thing that you can touch and feel and smell, and all that feels very much new to you, and it feels very much like you feel like after all this time being a Cleoth first rank werewolf and not just a fresh new pup, you feel like you have kind of the mental faculties and the spiritual faculties to handle a place like this, where before maybe your experiences were kind of glitchy and kind of just these kind of flashes of things happening because you being so inexperienced, having the nosebleeds and all that stuff because of that. And yeah, all of you are running around there, and the bears that you see on on the riverbed there, on the downstream there, on the edges of the river, just fishing for fish there. They seem to be quite like normal bears, except for that they don't consider you to be threats type of thing. They're very much in their own business, but they're kind of lifting their heads when they see you and kind of just looking and then returning back to their main focus type of thing. They don't look like spirits in the same way spirits do in the penumbra. They're not like just these glowing things. They look much more like animals would in actual like nature, but they just have this kind of a different kind of aura about them. And especially looking at them, you all feel like, especially for One Fang, who is definitely one who has seen actual brown bears in the woods. These bears look bigger. Their fangs look bigger, and they're basically cave bears. They're an extinct species from the Ice Age, and but they're clearly different from your average bear as you're running there. As with the moose / caribou, I can't remember what the actual animal was called that had those giant horns. But that's what you see in the distance as well, and they're like eating the grass and kind of like on the lookout. But they're also like a lot bigger than regular mooses. Like they stand a lot taller, and those horns, they're like they're like as long as their entire body is on its own, and it's the trees are tall as well, and as you run, the grass just kind of flies as you run across it, and this moist dew just flies off of it and sprinkles on you, and all this sort of thing. It's just wild nature at its finest.
Oh, Red Claw's she's gonna begin to run through that field, and as she does, she's gonna kick up all kinds of dew and little bits of blades of grass, and every time she does, she'll like run through like a flock of like small fowl and watch all of these majestic creatures just start to fly up into the air. And as she does, she'll just dart through the forest, and she'll see all the woodland creatures that are in there. And every time she darts through, she'll see something moving around, but she's not attacking. She's just embracing all this life around her. Every dart around there, she sees the moose. She'll duck under between its legs and just run in between as it just looks at her and stuff as she runs on by. Kind of like a kid in the playground. She's just running about at this point, hitting off of trees and just bouncing off of them and stuff.
Okay. As all of you are most likely in similar activities, after you've run around enough and you've kind of ventured into kind of a section of the woods on the kind of at the base of one of the larger mountains there, at some point you notice that when you kind of stop to kind of collect yourselves and kind of see where the rest of your pack are and that sort of thing. After a little while, you look around you and you start to hear this growling. Very familiar sounding growling, as it's growling of wolves. As you look around, you see 6 pairs of eyes that have circled you at this point. As you've just been prancing and running around in this kind of gleeful way, in this kind of almost like this prehistoric wilderness here, as you look around you and you see those pairs of eyes and they kind of walk forward, you see that you've kind of been, from afar, you've been circled by a pack of wolves, but as they come closer, you see that they're basically the size of your hippo form. They're basically dire wolves that have these saber-toothed cat-like fangs on them, and they're all very like crouching down and approaching in this very ready to pounce on some game type of thing. And there's 6 of them in total, all all circling around you at this point, with the three of you being right next to one another.
When Red Claw sees this, she's gonna stop immediately. Her eyes are gonna get wide. Her hair will start to stand up, and just as she sees it, and she sees the grandeur of these massive wolves, she'll calm down and she'll look towards the others. Look upon them. They must be ancient ancestors. Let us show them our respect. And then she'll kind of just bow her head as they approach.
What about the rest?
Curious Mind will be a bit hesitant because they are already in a bit like approaching in an aggressive manner, but well, Red Claw is the most experienced one of us all, so she'll just, I'll follow suit, and I'll take a submissive stand and appear pleasant.
What about One Fang? The last time One Fang was surrounded by wolves was during his first change, when he had to defend someone else's life from an attack from wolves. What does he make of this situation?
Yeah, immediately as soon as he catches on that they're surrounded, his hackles come forward, his tail goes under him, and that sort of, not fear, but that danger that he's ready to fight back. And Red Fang's words slow him down, because immediately he was going to just transform into Krenos and just start hacking at these things if they came at him, more out of fear than out of just pure strength and like that. But he calmly kind of steps up closer, maybe a little closer than he should, as he kind of brushes against her, to Red Fang and Curious Mind, staying close to them, but doesn't do anything. He just kind of watches them closely, ready to leap. But he's going to trust Red Fang, as he always does.
Okay.
And Curious Mind stepped up as well, so he trusts her as well.
Okay, as all three of you are there, basically like in this kind of a show of respect type of stance, in this kind of submissive stance, the circle kind of gets closer and closer and tighter, and you see that the wolves behind are higher up, than their shoulder lines are lower, in this kind of a form of ready to leap, and you can see the froth forming in their edges of their mouths, and you can even see on the fangs, you can make out the serrated back edges of those fangs, if they sink those in and start sawing, they'll take giant chunks off of you, being that size and being of that number. They're circling around, and then one of them that's basically at the front direction from your group steps a bit closer to you than the rest, and starts very much like in this, all muscles tense, all neck extremely thick and tense, and this froth and this drool just dripping like faucets off of its sides of its mouth, with those giant just fangs on him, and he's just with those glowing eyes with just these beady little dots on the middle, these kind of a very intimidating eyes, as it's just stepping forward and just making these kind of snaps in the air, just like this kind of these kind of very intimidating gestures, as it really it seems like it's daring you to run for your lives, type of thing.
Red Claw is kind of in astonishment at this display of power before her, as this is how she'll interpret this, and being thoroughly impressed. She doesn't waver in her stance. She looks that one dead in the eyes, and gives it the acknowledgments of such a display of power, and then bows her head in kind, seeing this as a great honor to be granted such an opportunity. And she'll kind of just look towards the others as she does this and just bow her head some more.
What about the rest?
One Fang, when he steps forward and he's growling and all that energy, and he can't help but feel challenged, and probably because of his fear, he shifts into what's the from lupus it goes to what's the big wolf?
Hispo.
Hisbo. So he transforms into Hisbo form and kind of just draws in all his bear power, and he just kind of like just makes this low growl, like a deep warning, like as he steps forward, and even kind of finishes it off just kind of like with a, just going to bark at the end, like warning that if he gets any closer, that yeah, I will leap upon him and beat him down.
Okay. What about Curious Mind?
Seeing as their reaction, in Curious Mind's opinion at least, is not a very friendly one, her position of weakness will indeed shift as well, as in like, okay, what do you want? We're not here to cause any harm, so she'll kind of make herself a bit bigger as well, not so going so far to change it to Hispo, but becoming less submissive and more like, well, we don't fear you. Huh? We're showing you respect, but not fear here.
Okay. In that case, I will have all of you make rolls for this. I will have Red Claw do a charisma plus expression. I will have One Fang do a charisma plus intimidation, and I'll have Curious Mind do charisma plus...
Empathy?
Yeah, okay, that's good.
I got 4 successes. Difficulty 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, got 4 successes.
But one
I
is
got-
takes
I-
away.
I-
Sorry, go ahead.
I got 2 successes.
Okay, what about John?
And a 1 takes away a success, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works? Okay, because I got 0 then. I had a
Okay.
success. 1. I'm like,
Well, yeah, in that case, it seems that One Fang's attempt to intimidate the wolves seems to completely fail or not have any effect. The wolves themselves seem ferocious enough where they don't seem at all affected or taken aback by One Fang's ferocity. For Red Claw's show of respect and admiration and all that, the wolves almost see that as a weakness. They almost like look down, like it's kind of especially for Curious Mind being born as a wolf, it's a lot easier for you to read the body language, where it seems that kind of bowing down and showing respect and humility is kind of like showing weakness, and this kind of I want to kiss your ass type of posture, whereas your expression of empathy with this kind of like you described of we're not gonna take this, but we still, we're not afraid of you type of thing, seems to resonate more with them as more of the wolves start to turn their heads, clearly like looking at Curious Mind at this point, and the one that was doing all the growling kind of like puffs so that the froth kind of like jets out of its mouth, and it kind of steps forward in front of Curious Mind and kind of looks her right in the eye and without making like a growl, you see that it has these piercing, like ice cold eyes. It's like locking eyes with you, and you can see like one of its sides of its cheek. Its cheek is just like vibrating out of the tension that's in the air, but like it's not like the froth and slime is no longer like flowing. It looks like it's in this kind of clear, like this measure of a man type of a thing with you, with just eyes locked on you, with all the rest of the wolves like watching on. And I will have you do a competitive charisma plus intimidation, or
I don't have intimidation. I do have primal.
yeah, I was
courage.
just thinking that you won't have, since you're not trying to intimidate him per se, you can still use the empathy. So let's have a competitive charisma plus empathy versus his charisma plus intimidation.
Nice. I got 3 successes.
He got 4 successes with 2 of the dice exploding, with one of them producing another 10. But I don't think you dice can explode twice. So that's 5 successes. So it seems it's very much at this point, it's like your friends are kind of standing there looking to you with this wolf, this leader of the pack, picking you out as this kind of a almost like a figure of authority, someone he takes seriously and locks eyes with, and you feel like this spirit, this animal in front of you, this ancient, extinct creature that's emanating this spiritual energy and this lineage of biology and life, just as you kind of emanate your lineage in everybody's eyes with your pedigree of blood. It looks at you almost in this kind of, it's not only not convinced, it's offended by your attempts to try and pretend like you have the authority to go over his and not submit into just being either pure food for his pack or something to be just pissed on. It looks at you with this kind of he's offended to be of the same of the same lifeline that has produced you at this point.
I'm noticing that I'm clearly losing ground here. So I will become offended by the fact that he is offended, and I will actually shift, because I'm taking. He's pretty much like staring me down, right, and bullying me and kind of forcing me in submission. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, to a point. Yeah, sure.
So where I'm noticing that this actually is working, I'll think of indeed my lineage and the fact that my ancestors actually created this tribe, which I'm now a part of, and I will start to growl become more aggressive, and kind of step up and like, I'm not backing down from you. You're no. You're the one that I'm pitying. That there's no. We're not on equal footing here.
Okay. At this point, it is nothing but intimidation. Nothing else will really do. But if you have no intimidation, you're basically not very intimidative. But then you will have to do nothing but use charisma, with the difficulty being on. I will say at without an ability, just the attribute. I'll say that the difficulty is 9,
9. Holy crap.
and it's going to be competitive against his. Unless he fails, it's very likely that.
I'll spend a willpower point, by the way.
Okay.
There we go. That's 4 successes.
4 successes.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus that's plus the willpower point. So
So you got 3 successes
got
on
3
difficulty
successes.
9 roll.
Yeah.
Oh goddamn! Well, he got a single botch.
Yeah.
So there you go. So basically, he's completely first, putting you down. But you, I was thinking, since you know a right to basically apologize any gripe made against a spirit, that would have been one possibility. But turning it around and basically intimidating it in return, it was a very, very risky call to make, but it happened to work. And basically it's kind of like standing up to a bully, if you get shoved and you shove back, that usually works, where if you let somebody push you around, they'll know that you're somebody who will let you be pushed around, So in this case, it kind of works in the similar way, where it completely tries to shove you down, and you won't take it, and you shove it back at him, and he immediately kind of he has this he jolts he kind of almost mentally goes on the defensive. He kind of takes a couple of steps back and kind of shudders a little bit, and all the other wolves look at him straight, like in this kind of they don't believe their eyes type of thing, and the wolf looks very frustrated and kind of just does these final these puffs and these growls and these showing of gums and this kind of just and then just turns around and runs off, and the rest of the pack follow him, and you're left there, the 3 of you, with all the wolves running off.
Here's my will howl after him.
Red Claw will look around a little bit confused. I don't understand. I thought that was a show of respect from me. It didn't seem to work.
Oh, it worked from the start, but these guys clearly weren't here for respect. They just were here for food.
Now, the thought of that actually makes her quite angry, and her claws begin to dig into the ground, and there's now a little bit of a battle inside of her between this calm and peaceful place and now the fact that these ancient ancestors have clearly thought of her as some sort of food. It pisses her off on a primal level. She's like, God!
Okay, do a frenzy roll then.
Oh God! All right.
If you're missing any rage points, you're free to fill up, your missing points. So yeah, roll your rage.
All right. So I'm just rolling equal to how many rage that I have.
Yeah, how many permanent rage points you have.
Gotcha. All right. Is this on a difficulty of 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I got 2 successes and 1 botch.
Okay, so only 1 success. So you won't fall into a frenzy. It takes 4 successes for you to fall into frenzy. But yeah, sure, you're all free to express your rage for sure. But you're
as that happens, she just begins she turns her back to everybody else so she doesn't give them the wrong impression. She just begins snapping at the air and stuff, and almost stomping her paw amongst the ground and just staring down at the ground aggressively. Just she doesn't want to take it out on the plants or anything else because she realized how sacred it is. So now the anger is even more focused inward and stuff. So she kind of just transforms into into Krinos, and as she does, she just lets out this bestial roar, just lets it ignite within her and outward as she expresses her frustration outward, and then she turns it into a menacing howl and lets the all the heavens quake with it as she does.
As you do that, you can feel birds flying off of the treetops as you let out the howl.
Her chest will begin to puff back and forth, and she'll crouch back down and revert back into lupus form. And as she does, her head will be kind of hung low a little bit, and she'll look up at everyone else. Well, what do we do from here, friends?
You kind of look over at One Fang, and he's reverted back to lupus form, and his tail is under him, and he's backed away where he's equidistant between Curious Mind and Red Claw. And his head seems, his ears are back, his hair is down, he's crouched real low. It almost looks like he's afraid. He totally looks like he's afraid. And his head keeps going from Red Claw to Curious Mind. He can't understand where that intimidation came from in Curious Mind, as he tried his hardest to scare these creatures off, and they didn't even seem to flinch at him. And then she just gave him a look that seemed to just shatter the reality of what this. And this creature ran away from her. And at the same time, he looks over at Red Claw, who's going mental and insane. And he just kind of, for a minute, he loses control of what it is to be a werewolf and reverts back to Michael, who's doesn't understand. He doesn't quite understand not only what Curious Mind did, but that fury that Red Claw had. He doesn't understand what she's going through, as that doesn't make any sense. She never seemed fearful. She never seemed like she was going to attack. He doesn't understand why she's so angry. And he just kind of slowly is backing away from the two of them.
Once her Curious Mind let out her howl, and she noticed that Red Claw is going into her angry moment. She kind of totally loses interest in it and just starts to kind of crouch over the ground, following some ants which are taking food back to their hovel. And she's just following them and just focused on that, and lets Red Claw do her thing, and is not really paying attention to One Fang, what he's doing.
Though you do have quite a high amount of empathy and all this kind of awareness stuff, you do notice that as she began to flip out, and vent her frustration, and you started to follow the ants, you do notice that around you, that you do notice the kind of the mental anguish that One Fang is going through. It's clear as daylight to your eyes that everything is not okay with him, emotionally at this point, with all this going down.
Mm-hmm. I'll kind of look at him, but she's afraid that if she now goes to him, she'll only make it worse. So she'll kind of let him simmer for a moment, and it's hard to have a proper conversation when somebody is like howling and so she's just like, oh, okay, I'll just focus on this for a moment, and then maybe afterward we'll have a talk.
Okay. Well, you focus on your ants. Red Claw is flipping out, and One Fang is in existential angst, and our brave three adventurers. But yeah, after a little while, it kind of, all of this, each of you kind of start to calm back and kind of return back to your natural faculties after just getting this stuff out of your system. For example, Red Claw, after raging out long enough, you just kind of feel this. It's kind of like you've exorcised this demon out of you for now, type of thing, and you feel like, a little bit of a weight from your shoulders has kind of gone down, and you feel more relaxed. But you especially notice after that as well, kind of One Fang, being being kind of troubled.
When she comes out of it, she's going to look over at One Fang and approach him slowly. And as she does, she'll say to him, One Fang, what is wrong? What troubles you, my friend?
Yeah, are you okay?
He kind of avoids eye contact and sort of just whispers like, I'm not sure. I don't. And he seems to like almost nod. He just stutters over his words. I'm not sure what could be happening. I don't know. And you can see he's just shaking, uncontrollable, like a dog that's in a thunderstorm where they're just sitting there and they're just shaking. They don't really know why.
Was it the ancestors that you saw? Were you put off by them?
He looks up at you and actually makes eye contact. He's like, no, I wasn't afraid of them at all. I just don't. And he kind of looks over at Curious, but I don't understand what she did. Where did that come from? That strength, that dominance, that you could feel that energy coming off her to frighten it away. She's like, everything I had, I put into it, and I didn't even flinch at it.
That's because you're human. Well, human born.
He stares at Curious Mind and thinks that I guess I just have to learn. I don't know. He's like, I don't understand, and he actually uses your name. He's like, Petra, I don't understand why you were so full of rage. You didn't even fight. You've always told me to use the rage to when we needed to kill something or defend ourselves.
She lifts an eyebrow when you say her human name, and she kind of approaches you a little closer, and she reverts to her human form. And when she does, she'll look at you and place hand upon shoulder, and she'll say, well, there are other things you must also know. Our natures also mean that we have to, how to put this, we have to battle occasionally another beast within ourselves. Our own rage can often be our undoing. I struggle with it at times. There was just a small display of it. All of us go through it at some point. It's natural. It is what comes with the package, as they say. We use our entire lives sometimes battling it. It is a useful tool in combat, make no mistake about it. And she points a stern finger. When used, it is invigorating, empowering. Like wine, you can be drunk off of it and fall into a stupor that you can never get out of. There are those who have fallen into a frenzy, and they've never come out of it again, and they have to be put down. It's something each of us has to struggle with, some more than others. When Curious Mind, when she was able to intimidate them off, I knew then and there that I had made the wrong decision in how I displayed myself. I made myself look like a coward. I dishonored them. And that, putting her hand over her chest, that infuriated me. I felt insulted. And I don't know how to explain it, but all it takes is a little bit, and something sparks within me, like a fire in a dry forest. It just ignites, and then it blazes out of control. I do all that I can to put out that fire, I do, but a part of me also wants to just let it go and let my fury rage on. It is natural. It should be tempered with much wisdom. It's very easy to let such things take control of you. Do you understand?
As Red Claw was talking, one Fang transformed back to Hamid form, and that's the human form, right? Yeah. And stands up and says, reaching up almost to see if she helps him up, and then as she does so, he says, I think I understand. He's like, we never discussed the losing yourself in the frenzy. That never came up before in our conversations.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping to bring these things to you one at a time. There's a lot for you to take in. I was wanting to get your transformation, your introduction to be a thorough one, but one with more ease and compatibility. But that is something you will need to know. Something you'll have to battle against. And like I said, for others, it is not so much of a struggle as it is for others. I tend to fight it a lot, and any strong emotion may evoke it even further. It is as if, how do you say it? It is as if any emotion, any kind of feeling that you have is magnified. If you would once feel a pebble, it becomes a boulder, yes? That is how it feels at times. And then it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Sometimes you don't care, and you just want to let it go. And that's when you'll go into a frenzy. When fighting against the things that we go up against, it is fine. But you must always temper that. I suppose it is an advantage that a Hamid born could have. We can use our will to fight it more. Curious Mind is not Hamid born, she's Lupus born. And she understood the ancestors on a much deeper level than we could. It was more instinctual to her. Isn't that right?
Curious Mind is at this time also in her Hamid form, and is kind of joining the group and kind of not putting her hands on her shoulder, but more or less like putting her arms around their necks, and she licks each of them on their cheeks, and says, "That's absolutely right." And what Red Claw is telling you is clearly her struggle. She is a rune. And your struggle, I kind of look at One Fang, you're a philodox. You constantly weigh things. It's important for you to ask questions and to learn what and why, the reason behind things.
He kind of, when you lick him, he smiles. You can't help but smile. Turns and he, thank you, Curious Mind. And thank you, Red Claw. I guess I don't know what happened. Sometimes my thoughts go back to the past, and I forget that I'm a werewolf.
It is all right, brother. In time, you will embrace this. I'm sure there are many that has gone through your struggle before. But give it time. And remember, all this will sink in. But all those flesh that you wear, it is still you. Just not the same you that was yesterday.
Well said.
She just kind of nods approvingly. This is like a bit of a glow about her. It's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one Fang kind of turns to you and says, "Non sum qualis erum," and he says, "I am not such as I was." And he kind of just shakes his head at you.
What was it you said before?
Kind of looks at Curious Mind curiously. What? When?
About a monsoon something?
Oh, no, monsoon. Non sum qualis erum. He's like, that's Latin, and it means I am not such as I was. Meaning that I've changed. I'm not who I was.
Why say it twice?
I was just letting you know. I didn't know if you knew. I don't think you speak the human tongue Latin, so.
No, I don't. Is that a different language?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
There are many human languages. I know several of them.
Non-sum... What?
Non sum qualis erum.
Non-sum qualis eram. Sounds funny.
It does sound funny.
I remember learning a little bit when I was a girl. A little cub. But I kind of skipped out upon those studies. She kind of looks down around the ground. I usually just stick to my one.
Why do humans have so many different languages?
That's a good
So
question.
in many ways, it helps to separate them, like we have different wolf packs. It gives them individuality.
But isn't it hard to talk to each other then?
Like communicating with the other wolf packs is difficult sometimes. It's the same with the languages. But hopefully there are people who know both languages and communicate with them, between them, create bridges between them.
I remember hearing from a merchant long ago that there are lands beyond here. Let's see. Far off into the southern regions. It is very hot there. There is sand, and they speak a completely different tongue. Wear very little clothing, and let's see. How do I put this? Their customs are much more strange, as he would put it. They have, it's hard to describe how he had put it. But the men, they were often tall, dark of skin, and there are many different kinds of animals, and they have different names for them in their own tongue. One of them described a very big cat, almost as bigger than a wolf at times, and that there are many of them. He also described another one, a big, I don't know how to call this one. It's, I don't think it is I think it is some sort of strange creature. I don't know if it is a real, it is like that, like the mammoth spirit that we saw, but smaller, but in gray. They say that there are large numbers of them running about.
And as you mentioned that mammoth spirit, you hear in the horizon somewhere far away from you, but from a certain direction, you hear the very distinctive, very clear, like that's clearly in all of your memory because it was such a vivid thing to see when you saw the mammoth come to the garden, and you hear clearly its noise in the distance. You're still in the middle of the forest, so you have trees all around you, so it must have come from somewhere like in a valley or in the mountain range or something like that, rather than in the woods.
Did you hear that?
Let's go see.
Ah, yes, of course. And she shifts into lupus form and swiftly follows afterwards.
Okay, as all of you, after this little heart-to-heart, you all shapeshift and run off to the direction of the sound. And as you come to the edge of the forest there, the forest had been kind of escalating upwards, so the forest must have continued on to like the base of a mountain there. So as you kind of exited, you're already like kind of climbing a mountain's base. And as you kind of come out of the tree line into the more opening area where trees are much more spread, where there's open areas where just singular trees here and there, that sort of thing, not so much a forest anymore. As you come there, you see that there is this giant mountain rising like some sort of a giant pillar, some sort of a monolith or something in front of you, and it's this very uh, this very like spike piercing the clouds type of a mountain that has this clear spiral pathway going up it, like almost like a kind of a drill or something like that, with trees and all this stuff all around it, and it kind of looks like here and there seems to be some sort of a like trees that have been carved into different shapes or something like that. It looks very much like something that's not naturally grown out of the ground, but something that somebody has, kind of crafted. And as you look at it, and you can see all those kind of little details, and you see in the distance somewhere like behind this mountain in a valley of a mountain range where you see like different shapes of mountains, some more like wide and shorter than others, while somewhere in the background you see mountains that are like triple the size of Mount Everest or something, that just pierce the clouds in the sky all the way through and all that. So it looks very like daunting and all that. But in the distance you do notice like this size, you notice a clear like figure of the mammoth there, walking around, and every once in a while lifting its trunk in the air and letting out just this kind of this trumpet style calls, and it seems to be traveling alone, but it's far away from your position. You can barely make it out in the distance, and it's like something like 6 kilometers or something like that away. But it's such a clear, open like terrain in front of you, this landscape, that it's easy to notice there. But you are in the base of this mountain that has this. As you look at it, there is this kind of a path that goes spirally about it, and it kind of leads off into very close to where you're standing. Like if you look forward, you see this kind of a beginning of this trail that has these two tree trunks that have been like cut in the middle, that are just bare tree trunks that have some sort of carvings on it that you can't really make out from this distance, but that's something that you see right in front of you.
One thing immediately upon seeing, like, all thoughts of the mammoth kind of go, all thoughts of his friends, as he sees the mountain, and he remembers the mountain from his journey. That was one of the things that he went to when he saw the Great Bear Spirit. And as he skids across the ground, dirt, rocks, pebbles, everything going in different directions, he kind of lets out kind of like a quick, kind of a yelp sound, like saying stop. And he goes, this way! And he just jets off towards the path, not even looking back to see if his friends follow him.
I follow swiftly behind, but I give Curious Mind a gleeful nod as she gallops along in her lupus form.
So do I, and seeing that One Fang is clearly in the lead, we can't have that. So I'll kind of shift into a higher gear and try to overtake him. And I will not be below or above trickery in this matter. Like, oh, look, a bear, and then I'll just shove him to the side or something like that sort of stuff.
Okay. But as the three of you move forward to the kind of the beginning of the pathway there, all of you are kind of taken aback because you've never seen this kind of carving and craftsmanship. For the players, the two skinned and carved tree trunks look like gigantic totem poles, like Native American style totem poles, but they're all bear themed. There's no like wings coming up, there's just bear claws and stuff. It's all the carvings are somehow bear themed, and they're thick. They're not like regular, pine tree or something. They're really thick. Like in your Krynos form, you couldn't like reach around and touch the tips of your fingers, type of thing. They're that thick, and they're like the craftsmanship is just pristine and great. It's like completely like grand as you're looking at it. It's like somebody has to have like made it with some sort of a toothpick type of accuracy type of thing. It's like it looks like magnificent. And as you are standing there kind of looking at the totem poles, it all gets cut off by this thunderous bellowing sound, this sound that sounds like thunder, like earth crumbling, but in the form of a sentence. You hear an accusatory, angry sound of Garu, and you hear this, and in between you and the basically like you, the totem poles, and after them, same distance away from the totem poles in the other direction as you are from them in the other direction. Suddenly, this bomb falls from the sky. This all of a sudden, this loud bang as this cloud of dust just explodes from the ground, and as it blows up, at the right next to the totem poles, behind, well, not next to them, behind you, so that the totem poles and these things behind you kind of form not even a semicircle, because there's only 4 points, but as this comes down, it's such a force that it feels like your feet are not really leaping from the ground, but it like feels like that as the force is so immense. And behind you, these two geyshirs erupt from the ground, like right next to the totem poles, like in line with the totem poles, but behind you, the same distance. These geyshirs just spit this hot water into the air, the kind of same thickness and length as the totem poles, kind of creating this kind of circle of pillars of this hot water, and these totem poles with you three in the middle, and this smoke of dust just right outside of it, with something that just like crashed down with immense force, something that had to be something like a giant boulder or rock falling from the top of the mountain or something, but boulders don't let out accusatory Garo yells. And as the smoke is, or the dust is kind of there, and it starts to kind of ease down, you hear this bellowing, like really like this gut level, like this kind of voice saying, "Infidel defilers," as you see these bright blue piercing eyes light up from in the midst of that dust cloud, as you see the eyes raise up, and they raise up, and they raise up, and they raise up, and they raise up to basically the height of 12 feet as you see this. Well, you see this bear Krinos, basically. You see this 12-foot tall, the type of height where a regular werewolf Krinos is like to this height to it. You see this gray bear like standing on 2 feet with very human-like posture to it. It has like this, just this kind of, the smoke just kind of clears off of its body, just like behind it, and it has like this. It's immensely like physically threatening, these giant, muscles on its shoulders, and it has like these, like this thick, like bright neon blue veins coming from its shoulder lines all the way to its chest, running on its arms, kind of like how One Fang felt the force of the bear running through from his heart to his hands when he lifted up the cauldron that was tormenting Red Claw in the prelude long ago. And it stands there in front of you with drool coming out of its mouth, with these piercing, bright moon light, kind of pale, bright eyes just piercing at you, and it just towers over you, and it starts to take steps towards you. You're clear. You're clear to describe anything that went down during this long tirade of describing what went down.
Oh, okay. So when she sees this and she hears the accusatory tone and then she sees its form, she thinks back to the story she's heard of all the other types of were creatures that were once upon the face of our world before the War of Rage, and she thinks back and she goes, oh, and that moment that crosses her mind and she thinks about that, she starts to tense up and thinks, is this some kind of angry spirit seeking vengeance against us? No! And she reverts into her Krinos form at that point, but unsure of what exactly may go down. As she reverts back into it, she'll just brace herself and begin to take a more of a combative posture, unsure of what's going on. She's most now worried about her compatriots, but especially of One Fang, because just as they've had that previous conversation, there's a lot he doesn't know, and that's one of the things that he'll soon learn. If that, that's one of the things she's worried about now, because she knows that he's getting slowly overwhelmed, and she doesn't want that to happen. So she's kind of looking at him, looking at this fearsome foe before them, or potential foe. But she's also caught at odds, because she also knows, this is a bear spirit in her mind as well. She doesn't want to fight it, but if so be it. But that's sort of her thoughts at the moment.
What about the rest of you? What about Curious Mind?
Sorry, I was on mute. Curious Mind will kind of like skid to a halt where she was just about to overtake One Fang, and when this explosion just comes, she just kind of like jumps up and kind of lets the current of the air kind of wave her back a bit. And in the pantheon of spirits and that sort of stuff, this isn't the bear spirit that we're here to see, right? Can I place it somewhere here? Where, or what does this? What do I know of this thing?
Okay, I will have you roll enigmas and perception, or you can make it intelligence if you wish, but either one will do, perception or intelligence.
Oh no, perception is my thing. So I'll and
let's see how much you know by just looking at it.
And so I have a perception of 4 and an enigmas of 3. So
difficulty 6.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay, what you see before you is not a spirit. It has lots of spiritual power and vigor, but it's not a spirit. It's not any kind of dead entity that's lived its uh, it's like these bygone days here or anything like that. It's not a spirit that is like originally from this place. It's clearly a creature of the physical world who, very much like you, is not native here but has taken like home here. It feels very much like how Red Claw was thinking, that you're very convinced that what you're looking at is another shape-shifting animal creature and not a spirit.
All right. So I call out that this is indeed this creature's like us. We should be careful.
What about One Fang? What were you doing before he, before Curious Mind said that out loud?
Yeah, one Fang, I mean, skids to a halt like everyone else does, kind of just dealing with the explosion of debris that flies past him. Then, like, once he sees what it is, and I mean, there's a certain amount of fear when a massive 12-foot creature comes towards you, but seeing that there's a bear part of it, and then when it says Infidel Defiler, which he knows specifically from his human side, it becomes less of a matter of being afraid, and he knows that he is not an infidel or a defiler. He is a servant of the bear. He has the tooth, and he sort of starts transforming on it into his Hamid form. So as he's passing by, he puts his Krenos arm on Red Claw, kind of just pushing her aside so he's in front of her, and then it sort of transforms into with a human hand, and steps forward and says that, really loud. He's like, "I am One Fang, Philodox of the Warheart Pack, and servant of the bear." And then he kind of just stands there in front of it.
Okay. In that case, I will guess that happened like right after Curious Mind said out loud that it's like us, because when she says that it's like us, the bear in front of you immediately turns its eyes to look at Curious Mind in the eyes and say, like you, you murderers, you defilers, you," and then he kind of, as he steps forward to the same kind of line as the totem poles, as he steps down, his foot down, all the carvings that have like faces of bears and such on the totem poles, all of their eyes kind of open and have this same kind of pale glow from them. And at that point, it turns its head to One Fang, and One Fang says what you just said, and you can see this towering creature in front of you as it's kind of that made it pause, like you kind of spoke on top of him as you said that, and it's kind of like you see this massive chest just kind of, and it kind of looks at you and looks straight into the claw that's hanging from your neck and says, "The bear might take in all willing servants, but I am not as generous as him. I do not accept werewolves. I do not accept the Garou, the slaughter, the massacres that you've inflicted upon the bear's children, on my people. I will not let you walk into the tops of my mountain that I am guarding for the bear itself and just stand idly by. I will not adhere to what the bear might see in you before seeing it myself. You have zero character in my eyes at this very moment. In front of me, I see nothing but pups. I see nothing but Cleof whelps. I see nothing but little children ready to cry as I stomp my feet on the tops of your skulls and crush you like the worms you are. as it takes another step forward, just, and you can see the eyes on the totem poles always like glow brighter as it takes a step forward. But it's extremely intimidating at this point. And how does everybody react?
In Red Claw's mind, she's now racing with even more thoughts. One of them being, strangely enough, a form of guilt. Because even though she was never a part of all of that, of all the War of Rage, she knows that deep down from the stories told that, kind of our ancestors' fault sort of ordeal. And she understands. She's like, there's an empathy going on. She understands exactly, like, she put herself in his position, and she would be rightly just as pissed off. And then she's really worried for One Fang, who doesn't know anything about this, and he's stepping forward, saying he's a servant of the bear and stuff, and she saw how that gave him pause, and now he's wanting to sit here and challenge us further. She doesn't want to fight them. She doesn't want to do any of that, but she knows she'll probably have to at this point, so she'll step forward, and as One Fang has done to her, she will gently put her large clawed hand on One Fang and gently put him off to the side, and she stands forward, and she'll look to him right in his eye, this massive form, this impressive form before her, and she'll say, "No, you stand aside and let us pass. We here serve the bear spirit. If you don't like it, fine, walk the other way. We have no quarrel with you. But if you wish to fight, you will taste my fang."
How does the two of you react to Red Claw's provocation?
Curious mind at first, when she saw One Fang step forward, she felt really at ease, like, oh, these guys can talk on the same level, so she kind of like actually sat down, like, okay, he'll handle this. But now that Red Claw kind of made like, well, if you want to fight, we'll fight. So she's like, oh shit. So she actually kind of like waiting to see what One Fang is going to do. But she's kind of like, can I still sit down, or do I need to step up and need to get into action here?
What about One Fang?
Yeah, One Fang, I mean, as Red Claw, reaches out to push past him, he obviously cannot compete with her strength, but he kind of reaches out and he's like, "Calm, sister," and then he kind of yells again as loud as he can up to this bear creature. He's like, "I am a servant of the bear. Who are you to say I am not a servant of the bear?" And then he waits a second and he's like, oh shit, I was gonna say.
"I don't think you understand, One Fang. There's more."
Before you even get to interject, you'll get cut off as the bear kind of like leans forward, and this kind of forceful air with spit comes out of its mouth as it's just, with veins popping on its forehead. It's raining. "Who am I? I am a child of the bear. You're talking about the mother of my entire species, you worm. Who are you? You killed almost her entire flock into complete extinction. I reside here at the home of the extinct species that are all around you, you twerp. What you see here is all handiwork of your kind, the Garou, in their immense, unending ego and unending self-righteousness, so that they could do our job in the world. Gaia herself created the bear to create us, to heal the sick, to cleanse the world of its death, destruction, and pain. And you saw the way forward to do Gaia's bidding. Whose champions you're supposed to be? It was to annihilate us because we posed a challenge to you. You were better healers. You were better caretakers of Gaia's domain than we were, so you would annihilate us. You would extinguish us from the earth. We are not all dead. I am still here, and I'm not letting any one of you descendants of murderers past me to go and grovel upon the feet of my mother, who will accept everyone with the healing and calm nature she possesses by her nature. But I will not stand idly by it. I will not respect your ability to worship her feet. You will not be worthy to worship her ticks on her fur if it's up to me. Who are you?
And as he's screaming that, One Fang, and a sign of it, it's more of a faith base than it actually is courage. He steps forward, and since the bear is so close, he just reaches out and touches him, just trying to touch his snout, and he uses that healing touch that's in the bear and just touches his nose and says, "I'm sorry."
Nice.
And you leave.
You don't have to do any rolls for that. That was good.
Red Claw, her eyes completely wide open, and she's just like, she's taken aback by that maneuver of One Fang. Her thought is that he's going to lose his hand, and she's going to have to stab him in the throat. But she's letting him handle his business at the moment, but she is on like the precipice of like, oh shit, like her oh shit-o-meter is like off the scale at this point, and she's just like, her hair is all standing up, and she's trying her best not to be too aggressive, but it's really difficult for her now. But that's kind of like what she's going through.
What about Curious Mind?
Seeing this bear rage, actually, and seeing the how calm and controlled One Fang is, she actually again calmly sits down, and she just looks at it and waits for what's going to happen.
Okay. When One Fang does what he does and touches the snout, and you can feel again, like there's almost like a microsecond ahead of your heartbeat. There's this kind of emanating beat coming from the claw on your necklace there. That's almost like making your heartbeat stronger than before, and and it feels like it's again emitting this pulse of this healing, this nurturing, this caretaking nature of the bear that the bear itself told you, or the bear spirit told you that most of your pack and most of your Garu kind have forgotten that they see bear as the totem of strength, where it's only one half of its nature, and you've encompassed much of that other side of that bear nature, and you feel that force emanate through you and through your hand into the snout of that giant bear in front of you, and you feel almost like you see its pupils kind of like go bigger as you touch it and say that, and as you have your hand there, you can feel like the kind of vacuumous air of it's sniffing the palm of your hand, and it kind of closes its eyes and opens them again without them glowing so much. They look like actual bear eyes that are just kind of brighter than normal, and it just says, "Young Philodox, pup."
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. No, I actually didn't hear you. The thing cut out.
Sorry. He says, young Philodox, pup. Thank you. And he kind of straightens its back, and you can see that the eyes on the totem poles kind of fade, and the geishires behind you just kind of kind of go down, and the bear is standing there in front of you with its back straight. It's still as big as before, but it feels like its rage it's been kind of taken away from it, and it looks down at you and says, "I was beside myself with grief, and you have my apologies for that."
One Fang kind of shakes his head like, "There's no need for it. You are doing your job. I thank you for being vigilant and protecting the bear spirit."
He then kind of crouches forward between, like, the two totem poles are like beside him, like he's in the middle. He crouches down and places his hand on the ground so as to bend his legs into kind of this lotus position of sitting down, and its a shoulder line is getting very relaxed as it's kind of inhaling and exhaling, calmly, and it places its hands on its knees and in this kind of much more calm demeanor says to all of you, "What have you come here for?"
Well, out of game, I forgot why we were here. I think we were just here to see the spirit. Do you guys remember? I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
Missing a week throws me off. Damn it.
No, but you're right. That's why you came here.
Yeah. He looks over at him there and says, "Yeah, we are here to speak with the spirit about things that have been going on." And he kind of turns and he says, "I would also like to introduce, Curious Mind and Red Claw, who wish to be servants of the bear, or more servants." I don't know.
You have clearly been accepted by the bear, and it is egocentric of myself to expect myself to know who is worthy of her worship better than she herself. But still, my post here is to safeguard this mountain. You have stumbled across the Powwow Mountains that we hold very sacred, where the totem spirit of the bear resides, here in the northern parts of Fungaia, where all extinct animals reside, more or less. Young Philodox, I would gladly have you allow me to test your character.
One Fang steps forward and says, "I believe that's fair."
He shows his palm, like, for you to take a seat beside him.
I sit in a position that's identical to his, or as close as I can get to that.
Yeah. As you sit down, you feel like as you're sitting down there, you feel like all the totem pole carvings are kind of looking straight at you. It's kind of like those paintings where you feel like the eyes are following you. It's the same sort of feeling with those carvings there. As the bear there sits in front of you, he kind of lowers his head and closes his eyes and sinks his long giant claws and fingers into the soil of the ground right beside her, and kind of sinks her palms all the way to her wrist into the ground. And she's kind of like, with eyes closed, with her snout pointing down, she's kind of mumbling and whispering something that you can't really make out, just something kind of, and he then kind of in the middle of that mumbling says, "Philodoxes have a sacred role in the Guru society, being a servant of the bear, showing your temperament, your approach being different than those who lust for blood. I feel you are on the right path of your auspice. And he lifts his hands with both of the hands like having this huge clumps of soil, of mud on them with, you can see like little insects and ants and little worms, just like earthworms, like coming through his fingers and all the on his forearms as he's holding these patches of ground up. And he says, hold out your hands.
One Fang does, holding both his hands out together.
And he places one hand underneath your hands and one on top of the other, and he, with those giant bare hands that are like almost like triple the size of Krino's hand, you having a human hand there, it feels like there's this wet, cool soil that's pressing on your hands, that's like comforting, and around them are these powerful paws that could just and your palms are crushed forever. They're like in this secure way placed on top of that, and the bear with his snout still lowered kind of mumbles something still, and then kind of just blows into the hands that have been pressed together with the soil, and you feel your heart beating again with this same sort of emanating force, and you see that his, like from his shoulder lines, these kind of streams of this kind of blue haze amidst his gray fur also start to kind of emanate that kind of energy. And as it's pressing your hands, it then lifts its head, opens its eyes, and your eyes are completely locked in his gaze, and it's like complete focus. And I will have you roll a willpower roll. Difficulty is, let's say, 4, to just see if you can pay attention or if it's already like too much.
So I got 3 successes. You said 4, right?
Yeah.
3 successes.
All right. So it's no challenge at all. You look into the eyes of this giant bear that you could imagine humans or even like you yourself, if you had met this when you had just had your first change, you might have crapped your pants and run away and all that sort of stuff. Now you're standing here in this kind of air of respect, of mutual respect with this bear, and you've locked your eyes with it having its bare eyes that, being the eyes of a predatory beast that's willing to kill just about anything for food when push comes to shove. And as you're looking into its eyes, you start to feel like you're starting to get these kind of perception kind of flaps on your eyes. Like your peripheral vision is starting to kind of weaken, and your like tunnel vision looking into his eyes is starting to sharpen. And you're at some point it starts to go to the point where you don't feel the presence of your 2 packmates anymore. You are standing there, you completely like understand your surrounding, and you feel like you're sitting on grass, and you see the eyes in front of you of the bear, but you don't hear the breathing or the sounds of your comrades there, and you feel like you're kind of losing grip of your surroundings, and you'll do another willpower roll. This time the difficulty is 6, to see if you can hold your concentration.
I got 2. Oh wait, no, sorry. I had a botch. So 1.
Okay, but 1 is still enough. It just concerns you very much that at any moment something could happen to your friends, and you would know it's like almost like some that you almost kind of feel trapped here, but at the same time it's like there's this kind of a underlying trust of this kind of the bear in front of you, like being a worshiper of the servant of the bear, you trust the bear to respect you, that it's not about to like stab you in the back or anything, like hurt your friends with you kind of in stasis or anything like that. But as it intensifies, you start to feel like you start to hear horses waning. You start to hear horses letting out sounds of anxiety and of fright. You start to hear you start to hear sounds of human calls for like these concerned, anxious, like what's going on? And mixed with the horse sounds, while you're hearing this kind of underline of this kind of strange kind of throat sound, this strange kind of unnatural, this kind of type of sound around you, and do another willpower roll. Difficulty 6 again.
Oh, and I hear it's all humans and stuff making that noise. 8, so 2 successes.
Okay. After that, it starts to, like, you can feel like streams of sweat coming down your brow, and you're like it's getting harder, your neck is getting stiffened and all that. And then after all that, you start to hear the crackling of wood as it burns, the familiar sounds, the familiar heat of your mother's history, of your vivid memories of all the burns that you've gotten. You distinguish the sound of a fire burning in a fireplace, a bonfire, and a burning building or a house or something of that. And what you're hearing now is the burns of a building that's on fire. And on top of that, you hear human laughter, this maniacal laughter on top of it, and the horse sounds and the human screams are all intensifying into this kind of a mishmash of chaos, and just this kind of horrible things are happening. At this point, I'm instead of saying that do the willpower roll, you're free to do that, but I will ask you, what do you do? Do you try to keep focus, or do you do something else? The bear is still looking you straight in the eyes, and you feel like you're being tested. You feel like this is something to show your conviction, and this is something like he mentioned being a philodox. Like he's testing your, if you deserve to be even called that and all that sort of stuff. So how do you react to hearing all this sort of stuff around you?
Yeah, the screams and stuff is horrifying enough to him, as his mind races to the village, to Agnes, to his unborn child, and then throwing in the flames of the building burning, and then maniacal laughter. Did it sound familiar, or was it just laughter? I guess
No, it didn't sound like any particular person's laughter.
That immediately, I mean, obviously sends chills up his right arm into his head, and it almost knocks him out of the trance. But he knows that this is a test, and though he doesn't quite understand what the bear is looking for out of him, what he wants, as he doesn't quite even understand what being a philodox is still. He's got some of the basic ideas, but he's learning. He will just stay within it, trying to push back his overwhelming fear that Agnes is in danger, where he just wants to flee and run to her and try to save her. But he manages to try to hold on.
Okay, then do another willpower roll, but because you're thinking of Agnes being in great peril for her life, you're free to do the willpower roll with the difficulty being 4 again, because you have true love merit.
Nice. I got 2 10s. Oh wait, those re-rolls, right? 2 cents. So 4 successes. So true love sticks out.
Okay. As you keep a hold, like you feel your head shaking and your hands are shaking inside, like you feel like the hands that are squeezing you, you feel like your hands are like this inside them because the anxiety is starting to get unbearable. And at that point, the intensity goes to 10 as you hear the burns just like, and you hear the maniacal laughter, and from amidst the screams of humans, you hear two extremely familiar female sounds, the sound of your mother and the sound of Agnes, like completely at the same time, screaming for their lives, screaming for Michael as all of this is going on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they can see me, but I mean, it's probably tears just streaming um, down my face. Yeah, I don't think Michael could. There's no way that hearing both of those so vividly that he could withstand that. And as much as he maybe in the back, there's a glimmer in the back of his mind of that, it's just too painful for him to deal with. Both his mother and Agnes and the unborn child, it's just too much for him to take. And I guess he'll pull his hands away, I guess, or just break
Okay.
down.
Okay. As soon as you break down emotionally and go to jolt your hands back, you feel immediately almost like tapping out and the refereeing making a signal as somebody releasing the hold immediately. Like immediately as you go to jolt your hands back, you feel like the grip getting completely loosened and almost like your hands go into this kind of almost like this fetal kind of position, and immediately you feel the arms of the bear wrap around your upper body, grabbing you by the shoulder from around you and your waist, and laying its forehead on your shoulder there, and immediately like squeezing on you tight and exhaling onto you. Thank you. As immediately he does the same that you did to him. He calms you down completely, and even though you were completely like in this kind of a emotional wreck kind of a frame of mind, immediately it's like snap. You see all around you, everything looks the same. Everything, like, it doesn't pierce your eyes because of the brightness or anything like that. It's, you see your friends around you. Everything is all right. It was all an illusion, a game with your mind, and the bear holds you tight. You feel almost like being cradled by a mother or something like that. You feel completely relaxed. You feel completely safe. Being the number one thing, you feel completely safe, and you feel completely sure that Agnes is safe as well, as you are being embraced in this very sympathetic way by the bear.
One thing, immediately I reach out and like obviously I hug, like hold him back, and the memories of his mother and Agnes in his head as he's squeezing the bear, but thinking of them, like holding them close to himself, burying his face in the thick fur, just kind of sniffling, and then he just kind of whispers, he's like, "Thank you."
He then stands up, like lifting you on your feet as well, and then relinquishes the grip and puts his hands on your shoulders and taps them, and kind of like gives a deep nod to you, and then he looks up and kind of lets go of you so you can run off or go to your friends or whatever, and he kind of looks at the two werewolves that are still left. and he kind of like turns his head and says to Red Claw, "Aharon, come here." And what does One Fang do, by the way, after?
Oh, One Fang, once he's put down and he looks over, and then even though he's completely calm now and feels safe, he sees his friends who, through that dreaming, made him feel like they were almost lost to him. He can't help but run over and uncharacteristically, he kind of just hugs them both. He runs up and grabs them as if he hasn't seen them in weeks, and then kind of just sniffs and rubs his nose and like wipes a tear from his eye and just kind of steps back and just smiles a little.
To the two of you looking at it from the outside, it looked like you would expect like two of them meditating together, and then all of a sudden like One Fang getting really like tense, and then jolting his hands, and then being hugged and all that. To you, it didn't look anything too flashy.
Red Claw during this entire time is completely speechless. Just moments ago, she thought we're gonna have to fight for our lives and possibly kill off another fellow shapeshifter, repeating the mistake of an ancestor, and all these emotions going through, and just seeing what One Claw did with the power of the bear spirit, and them just having this very somewhat intimate moment of meditation. She's just agape. Like, she is like kind of. You could tell that she's having a hard time understanding that. Like, as far as she's concerned, she was 100% sure that this was going to be fisticuffs, and it did not happen. And so now, in her mind, she's a little bit puzzled. The lack of conflict is there, and now the bear asking her to come over. She's a bit nervous, and when One Fang comes over and hugs her, you'll notice that she reciprocates, but she's giving off a 1,000-mile stare, and she just pats you on the shoulder, but she makes no eye contact. In fact, if anything, she looks like she's trying to look everywhere else except for that area. But when he calls her over, she slowly approaches, and then reverts back to her human form as she does. Giving in to this to the calm somewhat, but still very confused.
Okay. What about Curious Mind? How did you feel, or what was going on through her head while this was going on?
Curious Mind is still sitting at the same spot she squatted down when this all happened, and is kind of looking at it. And the more the scene plays out, the more she's filled with, I don't know if pride is pride is probably the right word for it. Pride for her pack member, One Fang, and she's looking at it and just is really here in the moment and just taking in everything that she sees, and which is quite rare for her, not being distracted by any insects flying around. She's just focused on the meditation that's going on there. And as One Fang comes over and embraces her, she embraces him as well, and she'll probably whisper to him, saying that she'll probably say, "I'm so proud of you. This is the first step you've taken to truly become a Philodox. You have found your own path. You are not a copy of any of us. You are yourself." And I again hug him and kind of pull him close. And, well, she's a bit emotional, but not crying, but you can tell that she's a bit tense and appreciative of being here at this moment.
One Fang kind of touches his forehead to her forehead and says, "Thank you, my sister." And then turns, and as Red Claw's walking, he says, "Be true to yourself, Red Claw. Be true to yourself."
She almost gives. She looks at you, and there's this vacant nod she gives, just a half vacant nod, and she continues walking forward, still amazed at the things uh, that One Fang has done, but very impressed. Like, she didn't expect any of that to happen. She's still puzzling over into her mind, trying to hammer through how that actually works. Um, she's just like the whole idea of forgiveness. That's sort of like that. That's very hard for her to even comprehend right now at the moment. And she saw just like this weird connection of, and she's like, I I could have sworn we were gonna have to fight. I'm not understanding this. So like that's when she walks over towards him, somewhat apprehensively.
He's still in his basically the bear Krynos form. Since you shapeshifted back to your Hamid form, the size difference uh, is enormous, and the bear takes a couple of steps to one of the giant tree trunks, like actual trees that are there, like these ginormous pine trees that are sticking from the ground, a little bit off to the side, but still there. And in this form, its claws are just they're like crazy big, and the fingers are also like the size of somebody's wrist, and it just like places its hand on the trunk of one of those trees and its bark, and it just goes down with the claws, just, and then takes it into a fist to what he kind of scraped off of it, mostly bark and kind of this puffing, little kind of the sawdust like dust that came off of there, and it's like in a clump in its fist, and it just clinches it, and it kind of there's kind of like between the fingers, kind of like this kind of coming off of it, and
she winces when she sees that because she thinks back to when she was hitting the tree earlier last time, and she remembers how Eider Drake was feeling, and so she sees him doing that, and she's like wincing deep down, going, "Oh, you're attacking a tree like that? Oh, like that's one of her thoughts."
Well, bears do that anyway. It's like a scratching pole for a cat, and it looks at you, and it puts its fist right at its mouth, and it again mumbles something to it, and you see it close its eyes again, and go silent, and then it opens its eyes again, and then it reaches out his other hand for you to give your hands to it.
She walks up slowly at first, and as she does, she extends her palm forward and places it into the massive palm of this beast before her.
And as you do that, it then takes the hand above yours, and kind of this stream of kind of this powder, this pale white powder comes from his hand, but it's not all of it. There's like this little, of it on your paw, and it closes, and with the hand that's holding your hand, he closes it to a fist, and then he takes the half that's in his fist, and like a weightlifter, kind of, pats the dust into his palms, and looks at you to basically do the same.
She does the same, and she tries to add a little bravado to it.
All right, and then he looks at you and walks kind of past you back to the area where everybody was, and he stands in front of one of the in the top of one of the geyshirs that sprouted out from the ground, and with his powdered hand, he takes his claw and he cuts his hand, the palm of his hand, and squeezes it with the dust, and lets a stream of blood squeeze out of his fist, and he starts to pace from the one of the geishir spots into a half circle to one of the totem poles, and once the blood has made this half circle kind of edge to this kind of a ring there, it then goes to the totem pole and places his hand on top of one of the bear faces on it, and then looks to you to do the same to the other side. Doesn't even say anything. He just looks at you, and it's clear that what he expects of you.
I follow in suit, and as I go over there to the other geyser, she goes into Krinos form, and she takes her claw and just rips into her palm gently at that. And as the blood pours forth, she squeezes it with much vigor and does the same motion that he has done as well.
Being Get of Fenris and all of your sept moods beginning with the right of every one of you pounding your foreheads and stomping your feet with the blood, this is quite common for your tribe. And after you've done the half circle, and there's the other totem pole in front of you there.
And then afterwards, she'll do the same thing that he did before to that totem.
Okay. After that, you see that the circle has been made basically around the edges of the geishir holes and the totem poles, and the bear walks into the circle. And if One Fang and Curious Mind are still within the circle, he kind of looks at the two of you with this kind of obvious kind of without saying it out loud, for you to step outside the confines of the circle.
Does he draw the circle around us, or?
Yeah, like there were the two totem poles, and then beside them, a little distance away from where you were standing. Originally, you were standing like in the middle between the totem poles and the two geishires that erupted like behind you, and now the circle is being drawn with those being like the edges, kind of.
Well, then I'll respectfully. Curious Mind will probably already have. If she sees that she's going to be inside the circle, she'll already have left the circle.
All right. And One Fang as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, One Fang, once he figures out that some sort of ring is being made for a wrestling match, he's going to step back and get out of the way.
Yeah. After that, the bear then steps inside the circle and looks at Red Claw. Even though she is in her Krinos form, he kind of looks at her, and you see him, without saying anything, really transforms into a Hamid form. You see from the height that he is, basically he goes into half his size, into a 6 foot tall human being. He goes through the form of what's the bear name for he goes through his Arthern form. By the way, the werebear, the Gural, for them, the Hispo form is called Björnen. And I love that. But yeah, he transforms into his Arthern form of being basically the wolf man of the bear, werebears, and then into the human form. He has a thick gray beard that's not like long beard, but it's like a full beard, and he has semi-long gray hair that's been like swiped backwards, and he is immensely muscular. He's basically he's built like a Brock Lesnar or something like that, and he's like 6 feet tall and stuff, but he still has those blue like veins, well, not like veins, but kind of like roots coming from his shoulder line into his chest and into his abdomen. And he steps into the middle of the ring there, looking at you.
I will respect that decision, and she will revert back into Hamid form as well, going from Krinos to Grabro and then to Hamid As she does, she kind of rotates her shoulder and she walks in there as well. A little bit of a strut along with that, just a little bit. Not trying to show off much, but she stands there before him, observing his impressive form and acknowledging it, reminding her of Oxspear and how strong he is. There's a clear acknowledgement there.
All right. He then does a slow bow, but not like averting eye contact, but like a bow and then back upwards to you.
Oh, I follow in suit. She does a slight bow and then rises back up.
Okay. Then he takes his hand. He's moving like very slowly and firmly. He takes his right hand and reaches to your neck and like places the right hand on top of your neck there, and kind of like looks at you to do the same thing for him.
Oh, this feels just like old times for her, and she rightly does the same. She reaches her hand out slowly and cups the back of his muscular neck and holds it there.
And then he takes his left hand and grabs the forearm of your right hand that's on his neck, so that he's basically locked there with you.
And then I'll do the same onto him as well, grabbing his arm with my free one, and then both locking each other in place in this sort of like yin-yang of bodies going on.
Yeah, and after you're all locked, he kind of presses his forehead against your forehead there, and then you start to feel pressure. You start to feel like in an arm wrestling match, you start to feel that he's pressing you down. He's not like bending you or rocking you. He's just, with strength, he's trying to press you down to the ground. And this is going to be a competitive strength roll. Nothing but strength. No,
Gotcha.
no, actually, no. We are already locked there. Strength only. And difficulty is going to be 6.
Okay, so I got 2 successes. One of them is a 10, so that explodes. And that's another, so I got 3 in total.
Okay, he got 2. So you're able to resist him by just an inch. So you feel him like pressing you down. How do you resist?
Oh yeah. So as he's pressing me down, I can feel his strength. Obviously, the strength of the bear flowing through him and pressing me downward. But then, just as he does it, I use my body weight to my advantage, and I make him waste a little more energy than he probably wanted to in pressing me down. Made him think that he was getting me down, just resisting ever so, just a little bit more. Using that cleverness in combat, using my opponent's strength against him, I let him do that, and then I use my leverage to push myself up and wedge myself almost evenly to him. Not quite, but just enough to where now he's wasted a little bit more effort on doing so.
All right. With doing that, it's basically like a tug-of-war type of situation there. He tries to press you down, you go down, but up again with using your lower body weight and all that sort of stuff. And the two of you are still there. The situation hasn't really changed. You're clinched there, and he then attempts to basically he attempts to sweep your leg with his leg and slam you down with the same hold that he's holding. And for this, basically, at this point, this is a combat turn, but he has a gift which makes him always start the initiative, except if somebody else has that same gift. Werewolves can get that gift too, but not on rank 1. But basically, we'll do this as regular combat from here on in, because he's going to do more than just competitive strength rolls. So basically, since he goes first, you are basically to tell what you would attempt next, and he gets to react to it. And
Okay. So as he tries to like sweep my leg, um, in return, as in seeing this, she's going to in turn twist her body as he goes to like sweep the leg, and he's gonna use the fact that he's off his momentum because as soon as he's got to bring his leg up in order to do so, right? So as he does that, she's gonna now go on the offensive and make him plant both of his feet down. So she begins to charge forward just a little bit, pushing as he begins to sweep and doing so, and she's making sure not to lift her feet up that high either. It's more almost like it's a weird scooting motion, right?
Okay,
Just
I get you. I
yeah.
get you, but I kind of messed up there. I shouldn't have described the action before because him going first in the initiative, it was like he would have had a chance to do exactly what you did there to react to what you would have attempted. So because of that, I'm going to count this as you attempting to basically react to his leg sweeping thing, and now he gets to act first because it's he has the higher initiative. What he attempts to do because of you trying to get him off balance is allow himself to go off balance but still hold the grip. He is going to tumble. He's going to fall on his back, spinning in the air, trying to spin you with him into a basically like a headlock takedown into the ground. And for that, he is actually going to use like a dexterity plus brawl. Takes one away. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 of those are 10s. 1 botch, so that takes away that 1. So the other one still explodes, and that's a success. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 in total of his brawl to see if he can toss you around, and now strength to see if he can actually deal some damage. And that's only 1 success. So roll your stamina to see if you can soak that 1 success.
Yes, I got 2 successes out of that one.
All right, so basically, yeah, he's trying his best, but it's not getting any effect. It's not hurting you, but because of like bashing damage does nothing to werewolves, it's like let's just say that it works in a way that basically he fails at his attempt. He was going to sweep your leg. You were trying to get him off balance by pushing him because he was now on 1 leg, and he tried to use that momentum to spin around, falling down, and trying to make a headlock takedown of that. Basically, he failed at that because you got 1 over on him. So basically, he's trying to do that and not succeeding. So he's basically off balance, trying to throw you, and you're not budging. So now it's your turn to act. You see this off-balance competitor who still has the grapple hold of you, but who's who's clearly off balance.
Well, in this case, I'm going to use that to my advantage now. And while he's off balance, I'm going to do what he was trying to do to me and slam him onto the ground instead.
How and where?
Okay, I'm going to do it off to my side, so he's like right in front of me. I'm just going to flip him over like that, right into the ground, and I'm going to go along with him. And when I do this, I'm going to do a spiral. As I do this, it's sort of like a death roll from a crocodile, and just slam him onto the ground a little bit, and let him do a little ricochet off of it.
Okay. Then do your dexterity plus brawl roll to see if you manage to succeed in this.
Okay. Oh no, that's I got 1 success and a botch, so that means that none of them count, and that's it, because I got no successes of that one.
Yeah, so in that case, I'll just say that you were trying, but it just didn't work. So basically, now he's no longer off balance, and he's back on his feet, basically there. So basically, you can imagine like you trying to with this guy that was trying to throw you being off balance, and you trying to counter him, and it's just made it so that he's now back on his feet, and the two of you are again like they're like wrestling, and he then it's his turn to go again first. So it's you who has to describe what you attempt to do next.
Okay, at this point, seeing as how we're being even and stuff, I'm going to then attempt to move in close and then change how this grapple is going, because obviously at this point he seems to have a little bit of an advantage on me. He's a lot more stable than I am, so I'm going to try to get him off kilter by going behind him and like trying to put him in a headlock or something.
Okay, because he gets to react first to your attempt. He sees that you're going to do that, and he's going to indeed let you do that, but he's going to try and catch you as you're trying to slide behind his back and grab you in a headlock. So let's see his dexterity plus brawl. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 5. 2 are 10s. Nothing from one of them, and nothing from the other one. So 5. So he succeeds in his attempt to grab you in that headlock. But let's see strength, if he can actually keep you in a grip. And that's 1, 2. Of one of them is a 10, and another 10. But I don't think I can check it if getting an exploding dice into another 10, if you can roll that again. But let's say for this session, because I'm not sure, if you do get that, you don't get to re-roll it twice. So I rolled a 10 again, and I got a 10 again. So so it's 3 successes in strength. So roll your stamina to see if you can soak 3.
Okay, so that's 2 successes there, and one of them is a 10, so that one explodes. And no, I absorbed 2 of it.
Oh man! So to the observers, it's basically him relinquishing his grip, and you going basically trying to sweep behind him, and him turning around on his axis in order to grab you into like a classic headlock. He has his arm around your head being there, and he's just cinching in on it, like, and your face is just like there in his sweaty armpit in this immense vice grip, and he has like his fingers locked in really tight, and there you are trapped. And now that you're trapped in a headlock, to get out of it, in order to do anything, it's gonna be competitive strength rolls to see if he can hold you in it, and to see if you can break out of it. He can't harm you if he uses his turn to keep you in the hold, but if he wishes to like harm you, he has to like by attacking you, you're already relinquished from the hold.
Could I just like let him do that? Because I was thinking now that he has me in there, I'm going to use that to an advantage. I'm going to grab him by his legs instead and pick him up and just go backwards on him.
Okay. Okay. Let's do that then. Roll your dexterity plus brawl to see if you can like suplex him from behind.
We all knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. That's 1, 2. That is a botch, so that cancels out that one. That's just 1 success then.
Okay, then roll your strength, and he's going to soak against that.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, here goes the strength. That's 1 success out of all that.
Botch cancels that. He got only 2 successes, but still, it's greater than that. So let's say that you're letting him like and you're going to like lower your lower body weight in order to get lift on him, so you can grab him and lift him up. But instead of getting him off the ground, he like a grapevine. He puts his arm, his other leg around your leg. So when you try to get him up, he's like grapevined into your leg, and you can't like just get him up, and he's just there, like cinching in on the headlock, and it's horrible. And yeah, the two of you are basically watching this, and while it's going on, while Red Claw is kind of locked in the headlock, the headlock is getting like really cinched in painfully, and the bear then lifts up his head and yells out, "Surge!"
I look up. Yes.
Riddle me this. What happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object? And he keeps cinching in.
Curious Mind will look a bit like,
Okay, while you're thinking in the background, more pain ensues. What is Red Claw going to attempt to do next?
All right, so this is where things will come together. He's taken his leg and vined it around hers, and so in doing so, she can't lift him up. But this also means that she can now attempt to just fall back now that they're both locked in. And what she'll do is she'll take her arms and just wrap it around the waist, and then just fall completely backwards, not lifting up at all, just going backwards and then doing a spin this way and letting his form slam into the ground instead.
Okay, he will attempt to let you do that, but do it in a way where he lands, spins around you to land on his butt, so that he can continue the headlock while you would be laying on your stomach on the ground, and he would be sitting on the ground with the headlock there in place. He will attempt to do that. So I'll roll his dexterity plus brawl. There's 1, 2, 1 botch cancels that. There's 4 successes, so yeah, he succeeds in trying that. Then it's time for strength. In strength, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, one of which is a 10, and another success. So 5 successes. You roll your stamina to see if you pull through.
That's 0 successes on that. I rolled a 6 and a botch, so they cancel out.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. He basically reads your what you're attempting to do, and he does exactly that. Like, you were cinched there, and you try to make him fall back. He spins in the air where he will fall on his butt, and because of the position, you will fall on your belly, and you will be lying on the ground like flat, but your head is like cinched upwards because it's in the armpit there, as he's sitting down with his legs spread like eagle there, as he's just cinching in, and it's like boom, and again like there, and sweat is just pouring everywhere. It's like it's foul.
As I feel all this, she suddenly she resists the urge to panic and instead forgets that she has legs. And at this point, she'll take her legs and bend them back and then wrap around his neck and attempt to just throw him back behind her in that way.
Whoa, that's kind of Spider-Man shit. I don't know if that's physically possible.
Well, I mean, at the very least, she's going to bend him back, because she'll be in this arch now, and she's going to bend him back from that motion.
Okay, how much is your athletics?
Okay, let me look here. My athletics is 3. I got 3 in athletics.
3, okay, so you're basically kind of like an amateur shoot fighter or something like that, or a boxer or something like that, So it's you're not like a gymnast or anything like that, but Yeah, you're free to attempt that, but for that, instead of brawl, I will have you roll your athletics, so dexterity plus athletics for that maneuver. What a
Gotcha.
maneuver! High risk maneuver.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that's a 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got 1 botch. So I got 4 successes out of that.
All right. So so because of that, you like a scorpion or something. You just your legs shoot forward from with your back being all the way arched. And are you like grabbing around his head or where?
Oh yeah. So what happens is that while she's on the ground, she's kind of kicking up and stuff, and her knees are rubbing up against the ground, is covered in dirt and grass and sweat. And she arches her back up, and all of a sudden her legs come up, and at first they kind of hit his shoulders, and then she pushes herself forward just a little more, and the legs come around, and they just wrap crossways around him. As soon as she feels that, she tightens their grip as much as possible, and then pulls back. So now she's the one choking him while she's being choked, but she's gonna try to like overpower that and just push back as much as possible. Goes,
Competitive strength roll, but it's kind of bad if you kind of fail. You're kind of choking yourself by bending backwards if his hold is not breaking up. It's like he's bending backwards, so that means your neck is just stretching even further. Yeah, good God.
That's 1 success I got out of that.
He got 1 success as well. So it's basically a stalemate. Another competitive strength roll.
Can I answer my question while they're in a stalemate?
Yeah, you can. 1 success.
I got 2. I got 2 that time.
So basically, as you're standing there looking upon this and planning on answering the question, as he's like and the feet lock on the face, and it's like, and it just keeps on this kind of tug of war, and then it starts to get further and further, and his grip is starting to loosen and loosen and loosen, and her grip is getting tighter and tighter. He's getting bent back. Now is the chance that you get to shout your response if you wish.
Whoever has the most force of will wins.
And as she hears that, she uses that kind of like as encouragement, and then she like puts all that power into her feet wrapped around, and goes, and it kind of just breaks off from there.
At that point, after Curious Mind says that, God damn it! I'm trying to think of a. You hear the bear say, "Ha! What puny scope of mind!" And you can like see in front of your eyes him basically using rage points. And as the legs are bending backwards, he intentionally lets go of the grip, goes with the legs bending backwards, does a backward somersault, and leaps forward to grab the headlock again with getting 1, 2, 3, 4 successes on his strength roll there. Red Claw.
Okay, so I gotta make a strength roll in return?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Now, let's see here. Oh, that's 2 botches, and I got no successes on that one.
2 botches. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, flavor. He leaps forward and grabs you on the headlock, and then he gets to basically stand up with you being like arched forward in this 90-degree angle with your head in under his arm, and the bear just holds you there and looks at straight in the eyes of Curious Mind and says that you thinking much too contained forms. You think in much too specific fractions. You think way too specifically. Do not think of a combat. Think of forces of nature. Think of beasts. Think of life and death, of immovable object, unstoppable force. There are more than simply the wills in fight. Life and death do not operate on will. What is your answer? And he does a front, like he does a bulldog on you. He runs forward with your head in the headlock, leaps forward, kicks his feet in the air, and basically lands on his butt with your chin landing on the ground, with the rest of your body kind of following like limply behind because of your two botches. And that's when he hits that and still holding on the headlock. That's when you roll for rage.
Uh-oh. All right.
Oh no.
Oh my. That's 4 successes.
You friends.
Oh.
All right. Right in front of you, the bear asked for your thurge, basically your mystic, your shaman, to answer a vague, mystical question, and he was not pleased with the answer, humiliating your friend with an onslaught of quick movements and somewhat of a finishing blow looking maneuver, and and making your friend lose all control of herself and fall into a frenzy. So basically, to curious mind, it kind of looks like you have the power to end this match as long as you answer satisfactory to the bear. And meanwhile, your friend is getting punished, punished.
Her eyes are like completely dilated at this point, and they're just all wide and stuff, and she's got like a bit of froth coming out of her mouth, and her hands now, even though she's not in Krinos form, she's just clawing into the ground, just her legs are just kicking up. Yeah, and like she's even like managing to like twist around in the grip due to all the sweat and stuff. And you just tighten it on her. It's like it's like a crocodile doing a death roll and stuff. She's just spinning around and thrashing.
But the combo of a bicep on the other side and a pec on the other side and all the sweat, it's just too much for even a frenzying werewolf to handle. And oh, by the way, since you frenzy, you shapeshift automatically into your Krinos form, and he, respectfully shapeshifts into his Artern form, which is your Glabra, basically, which is kind of the size of a werewolf Krinos. So it's still kind of fair, he's still cinching in, and every time you kind of flip, he does something kind of show-offy while maintaining the headlock. Like he will have like toss you like a hip toss to the ground with dust just flying off the air while still holding onto the headlock. He will roll on the ground and make you roll with him while holding onto the headlock, and he'll hold the headlock while like scraping you on the brow with his elbow, and all these kind of like he's completely like your pack's prime warrior is being humiliated here. Curious mind. He looks straight into your eyes with this questioning look of, do you have an answer? type of thing.
There can be both of them. Unstoppable force and immovable objects. For the two contradict each other. But let's say there are. I would say if the two meet, life would be would present itself.
You see that the bear kind of keeps cinching, and he kind of looks into your eyes, and he's kind of like contemplating what you're saying. Go on.
Of all the things I've seen, of all the things I've learned, life is that which is the hardest to comprehend. And as such, if two things meet that cannot exist in the same place, I only think that something as multifaceted as life would spawn.
And at that point, when you say that, you almost feel like the bear's pupils are again like going up, and at that point, the frenzying Red Claw instinctually grabs him by the waist and does her signature German suplex to this bear that has now willingly, as she does that, and as she goes like lift him, he kind of willingly like lets go of his hands and allows her to slam him on the ground, which makes him tumble backward, and he stays laying down on the ground for a little bit. And at that point, with all of that energy going, at that point, Red Claw has also, with that final finishing move, you have expended your energy there, and you're also kind of like immediately after throwing him, you also kind of fall on your back, and the two powerful warriors now in this ring are there. And by the way, as Red Claw did the suplex, and the bear kind of like lifted it, like went into this Jesus pose, and fell down, fell down like into the ground. As his back came to the ground, like the gay shears erupt again, like from the sheer force of Red Claw's suplexing abilities, and that's when he stays on the ground. Red Claw, completely like exhausted, with barely only fumes left in him, also falls on her back, reverts back to her human form, and the gay shears kind of, and the water washes the red edges of the ring away, and it feels like all is calm, and it's like almost like the trials are done, the trials are over, and those two warriors are there laying in front of the two of you.
Her chest is heaving back and forth, and all she could do is just stare up at the sky, which is this cloudy snow mixture, as you described earlier, and she just gazes into that almost infinity of gray haze, and finds some solace in all that, and her chest just begins to heave back and forth, and so many thoughts rushing through her mind. But right now, she's too tired to fight them, and so she seeks comfort in that infinite gray void before her.
As you're staring up, you'll probably suddenly like see this this face appear in your line of sight. Like, are you okay?
I got him, didn't I? I think. She tries to wrench herself up.
I kind of push you with my head, like, come on.
Give me a second.
One thing comes over and helps her, reaching down to help her up. That was awesome.
That was awesome. But yeah, there you are.
Oh, that was intense. One hell of a way to do a test. And she kind of glances over at the bear, who is probably still on the ground at this point.
Once you glance, he kind of sits up slowly and with the knees bent and his arms resting on his knees, looking at all of you, and then smiling.
So, did we pass your test?
Come with me, and he goes to stand up.
She just gives a nod.
And he then walks past the two totem poles and towards the path that's spiraling up the mountainside.
And as that happens, she looks towards One Fang and pats him on the shoulder and kind of pushes him forward a little bit, as if to signify, you take the lead, buddy. You're kind of, this is like a, I guess almost, that's kind of like a reward sort of thing, because leading the pack is sort of like somewhat of an honorary duty. So she pushes him forward for that.
One Fang doesn't really. He's kind of used. He's just kind of like got his arm around her, holding her forward, and pushing him forward towards it. He's like kind of like just looks at her. He's like, "What? Come on, let's go together."
I'll be right behind you. You lead forward, friend. Brother, you've earned it.
With that, One Fang kind of looks at her and looks over at Curious Mind, and then just kind of like steps forward, walking, trying to keep up with the bear, who's probably got huge strides.
Well, he's in his hermit form, so regular walking speed. But yeah, as you kind of, all of you, oh, by the way, Curious Mind, anything specific, what's going on through her mind as you start to leave to
No, just she's pleased with her pack and herself, and it's kind of walking behind her two pack members because, well, she's still in her wolf form, and so she kind of has to let them set the pace and just kind of walks at them and observes them and sees how they interact with each other and drifts off thinking of those things.
As you walk, you notice that once you start to walk up the trail, up the mountainside, as there's scattered trees here and there, and this is completely like a beaten path, like it's been stomped on, like carriages have been through here or anything. You're kind of used to seeing all sorts of like paths and stuff that have those kind of lines for the cart wheels and stuff, where the middle is kind of bumpy there and that sort of thing. For all of you, well, not for Curious Mind that much, but for Red Claw and One Fang especially, it's kind of, this is completely done through footsteps, and it's there's trees here and there as you're going by, and you see all sorts of rock and tree formations. You see trees with different kind of carvings. Some are carved in those kind of totem pole styles. Some have like carvings that clearly with a claw or a knife or something that look like cave paintings. You actually see very reminiscent of cave paintings on the actual cliffside of the path as you're walking up, and you see all sorts of different kind of art styles of like craftsmanship and paint and all that sort of stuff, sculptures and drawings and all these kind of different things. And you even see like these flat stone formations that Vikings used to do, that you have in that little clearing in your territory in the woods where you always meet up with the bear spirit. Those kind of rock formations are there and that sort of thing. And as you're climbing, the bear turns his head a bit towards One Fang and says that, I am pleased to see that Bear chose you for the right reasons, clearly. You have no idea how many Philodoxes have come here to serve the bear who I've turned away because of doing exactly what you didn't do. Sacrificing possible loved ones and packmates and tribe mates to die just in order to go through with a mission given to them, completely blindfolding themselves. Once you accept a mission from a complete stranger you don't even know, and you're willing to let your companions and comrades suffer and die horribly just to see the task through, you're no Philodox in my eyes. The role of the Philodoxes is one of the most sacred, as you are the one who is to look after your brothers and sisters and your friends and your comrades. You are someone that needs to be someone that others look up to when they need help standing up, and when they need help to lead, when they need decisions to be made. Philodoxes, you, your kinds, you who see the bear's compassionate side, you who sees the bear's true self rather than just her size and strength, you are a rare breed indeed. I commend you for your efforts. I hope you get to use your influence in the future and you prosper, your tribe prospers thanks to your wisdom.
One thing kind of like, in fact, turns kind of red as he's embarrassed that anyone would compliment him. He's still not used to having any type of affirmation or accolades thrown on him at all. But he does look up and he says, "Thank you," and he like thinks. He pauses for a second. He's like, "You're what can I call you?"
I relinquished my privilege of person when I came here to dedicate myself to the service of the bear. I am no one. I do not have the privilege of person. I gave up my identity, my name, my lineage, my family, everything, to fully dedicate myself to the bear. The bear helped me in a past life, but a life that no longer means anything to me. My post is what means something to me.
One Fang kind of steps in front of him, like so he's facing him dead on, and he says, "May I call you brother then?"
He just puts his hand on your shoulder and smiles, but doesn't say anything. Just kind of smiles and keeps walking.
One Fang gets out of the way so he can continue walking, and just kind of walks beside him, smiling.
Yeah, he's kind of old as well. You know, he kind of looks like he's something like 45, not 50 yet, because this is a medieval time. Somebody was
old?
What?
He's 45 is old. I'm just saying. You may want to watch what you're saying.
Medieval standards, 50 would be like a total like a grandpa at this time. You know, if you live past 50, you're a pretty.
I just messing with
you. He's almost as old as you, however. But
damn it!
But, no, but what I mean is that he has a gray beard, a gray hair, and he has like strong lines, on his face. So isn't he? Even though I described his physique like something like Brock Lesnar or something like that, he is not like a young, spry athlete or something like that. He looks like he's a complete like veteran, someone who's could be an elder of his kind or something. But yeah, there you're climbing, and he kind of while you're climbing, it's a very long climb. During the climb, after enough of a silence there without anybody really saying anything, He he then turns to all of you and says that there is a edge, there's a cliff on the side of this mountain. There is a runestone bridge that leads nowhere. I will not follow you there. My territory ends before that. I will lead you through, but once you get to the runestone, say a prayer to the bear and take a leap of faith. But do not let go of one another when you do. The current is very strong at the end of the bridge. If it grabs a hold of you without the rest of your friends, you could be separated for the rest of your lives, surfing on the edges of the abyss, eternity. So look after one another when you do that, when you go past. And after that, you see that in front of you there's another set of those totem poles on the pathway there. And at this time, the wind has gotten stronger, and there's actually been snow as you've been walking there. But since you're in Sweden, it's very regular for you to hang out in snow. So yeah, it's crunching underneath your feet there and making noises, and it's getting a little bit colder there, and the wind is making it a lot colder actually. But there are those two totem poles, and the bear steps in front of them, and he crosses his arms, and he stands there in this kind of like this sentry type of a position, this kind of a vanguard of this mountain there, and he looks at the three of you in this very respectful, stern look, and just says to you that may you serve the bear well, and it gives you a long bow.
I return the bow in kind, and I say nothing else. When I turn to my compatriots, I kind of extend an arm out for them to grab hold of as we journey forward.
One Fang pats Brother Bear there on the shoulder and says, "Brother, take care. And remember, balance in all things." And then kind of walks with the others.
Purity will look at the bear as well, and she will nod her head and say, "Thank you for the wise words you spoke to my friend."
He nods and acknowledges it clearly.
Take care. I follow my friends.
Okay. As you walk past the totem poles there, you see that the beaten path kind of completely vanishes, and it's just this expansive cliff face. The cliff is so kind of outwardingly, kind of like it spurts out, almost like if you think of the Pride Rock in Lion King or something. It's like that sort of this almost like half a bridge there. It's like spurts out of the side of the mountain there, but there's no path on it, and there's lots of snow. Like the snow level is very high, so it reaches, like in your human forms, it reaches your knees when you walk there, and the wind is pretty strong there, and snow is going on, and there's the clouds fill the sky, and in front of you you see this open, magnificent, like a mountain range of completely snow-covered, sharp-peaked mountains, and mountains that are so large that are like Mount Olympus or something like that, like reaching up through the clouds, and just insanely large in size. But there you are, and that edge of that cliff there is a rune stone that looks almost like a monolith or something. It looks like this plaque of writing and runes and all these different things, and it's like pushed, it's like tilted, it's like this, it's like at this sharp of an edge where it looks like you could walk on top of it, and that's most likely what he meant by a half bridge that you would go onward from and take a leap of faith, but before that say a prayer to the bear. So there the three of you are without any parental guidance.
Red Claw will take the advice, and she will kneel down upon her knees, and she will kind of just bow forward, her forehead meeting the rocky face, and she'll begin to utter prayers for the bear itself, asking for guidance and peace of mind, even. As she does so, and when she does that, she keeps thinking back to what One Fang did, and she still is struggling deep down as she says those prayers to try to comprehend this sort of action that had occurred earlier. As she is still in quite disbelief, and she just kind of transfers those thoughts as she commences with her prayer. Picks up Eider Drake and puts up against her skull and down onto the ground as well, being that is a somewhat kindred spirit. And she'll, take out some dried herbs, smash them between her hands as she does this, and places them against her forehead onto the ground and stuff, and then back again.
Are you planning on leaving Eider Drake there, or?
Oh no! I put him back on. That's just part of the ritual. And then as she puts him back on, she looks around and waits for the others.
Okay.
Curious Mind will be sitting there quietly and is saying a prayer as well. And she's giving a prayer of 100% of thanks, because thanking the bear spirit to allow us to come to this dimension, to this realm, because everything that has happened here has been building the character and the personality of an important member of our tribe, and we've all learned things. But to see one of her pack members blossom in this manner is a thing to be grateful for, and to be something we can all draw a lesson from. And she's grateful for that.
Okay, what about One Fang?
One Fang kneels down more because everyone else is than actually knowing, since he's spoken to the bear before and knows that that type of ceremony doesn't necessarily matter as much to him. At least that was his words to me last time. But yeah, to show respect, he sits forward, and he's got a swirl of thoughts going through his mind, some of which are there's a certain amount of happiness and joy he's feeling for his friends, that they're getting to meet the entity that he only touched. He didn't get to really speak to or talk to too much, just touched it last time, if I remember correctly, as all the images went through my head of the bear. Or was the bear spirit the one on the tree with me? I can't remember.
No. That was just a bear spirit.
A bear spirit, not the bear spirit.
Yeah.
But I was shown this. I remember being
back against the giant mountain that you saw, like, while you were flying in the air. Kind of, you were like like 50 miles away from it.
Yeah. so there's a certain amount of euphoria that he's going through, and happiness for his friends to be able to share in that, and to that they're accepting the bear totem into their hearts, where he already has, is making him really just more excited, I guess, and giddy to an extent. As most of the fear that he had earlier is been just totally wiped out after his encounter with Brother Bear, who helped to wipe out all the negativity that he had, and he's excited to get going, almost to the point where, not disrespectful, but he wants to get going. He wants to get across this bridge as quick as possible, to speak to the bear, to be in its presence.
Okay. Now that all of you have kind of well, prayer is just one term for it, but you have all kind of done this kind of mental gymnastics, this kind of meditative concentration on what the bear means to you, and what you're kind of going through in your head and all that stuff. And after every one of you have kind of reached this certain meditative kind of personal length in your head, you see that the rune stone, its runes start to emit the same kind of bluish hue glow that the totem pole eyes did, and the bears, those root patterns on it did, and that one fang's, the pendant on his neck emits this kind of blue hue, almost as if inviting you to step forward.
I will change into my Hobbit form, because we were told to hold hands, and well, that's kind of hard when you're lupus form. So I'm probably, depending on where One Fang stands, I'll either move to the other side, because in her mind he should be in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll stand in the middle and stuff, and she'll be holding on to both of them as she walks forward.
Okay. So Red Claw is the one holding both of them.
No, well, actually, I thought my thought was One Fang should be in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, so it's One Fang in the middle.
She'll have a firm grip on your arm.
Good. Then One Fang will grab onto Curious Mind's arm really tightly. Afraid of losing.
There the three of you are, with you on the helm, staring down at this rune stone that's tilted to the horizon, on the almost at the top of a mountain there. So it's pretty much, as you leap over it, it's pretty much just mass suicide, But yeah, there it is, inviting you forward.
Who's going to step first?
Oh, I thought we stepped. I immediately just kind of tugged them forward as I stepped first. As I always have when I deal with the bear, he is so close to my heart, even before I joined with him, that I trust in him, which has helped me bypass all my religious problems that I've had prior. Is being meeting with the bear that gave me that strength. So, yeah, I stepped forward without a thought, without a second glance.
All right.
Red Claw keeps pace with you as you do this, and she takes deep breaths as she walks alongside you.
All right. And I'm guessing Curious Mind is as well.
Yeah. She tries not to be distracted by the birds flying around, but she just, let's focus on this step here.
Yeah. As the three of you start to walk forward, the last couple of steps are almost running steps as you leap off of it, and the three of you holding on to one another. It's like jumping into a very strong river current in the air. You leap off, and you're already like hairs blowing back, like, as you are gliding through the air with the three of you holding hands in this formation there, almost like parachute, diving type stuff, and the three of you glide off of the edge, and you're immediately taking taking altitude where you're getting higher and higher, and that little runestone is getting smaller and smaller in the underneath you, and as you're gliding there, the current of the air basically that you're gliding on starts to take dives and starts to take curves and go around giant mountains that you're going there. Like as you're going, you see pine tree forest just go underneath you. These treetops, and you see the mammoth spirit walking there, trudging on one of the mountain sides, just. But it's very small compared to your height, and as you fly by, it raises its head and looks as you fly past it, and you're all gliding through the air and going past these giant mountains there, and there's mountains that spread into two peaks there, and you're kind of like Millennium Falcon going past the two of them in this kind of flat formation and all this sort of stuff. You see this ocean open up in front of you, this snowy, well, not like frozen or anything, but snow is coming from the sky, and you see these giant whales and these prehistoric marine reptiles and stuff, just breaching through the water, and they're just so massive and such mass in their body, and they're like water spraying everywhere, and this whale just these, as you're gliding, and you go gliding right on the ocean's. Right above it, the ripples of the water are just running underneath you as the three of you are gliding there, and then it goes into basically you see one of the whales going into the air, breaching from the water, just and you fly underneath it with the water droplets falling on you, and behind you the whale is just splashing in the water, and then as you get closer and closer to the surface of the water so that the water is spraying, going on a speedboat, kind of this, and then you kind of you take this steep climb just upwards, and you kind of corkscrew upwards into the clouds, and as you pierce the clouds and go above them, it looks like the clouds beneath you look like this complete snowbank of just these immense patterns and such, and the sky looks like the Hubble telescope pictures of different kind of nebulas and stuff. It's completely bright colors that are shining on the top of the clouds as your bodies are purple and green and orange and all these lights as you're flying across the above the clouds there, and as you see mountain peaks that stick up above the clouds there, you see on one peak there's you see a little bonfire with a line of smoke coming off the peak of one of those giant mountains, but you're flying so fast past it that you don't get to see if there's anybody keeping that little bonfire there, but just flying past, and you see some sort of a ancient flying reptile in the far distance, flying above the clouds and against this bright sky there, and then at some point you start to decline, and you're just gliding through the air, and you start to get to the clouds, and the clouds are kind of going in front of your face, and then you exit the clouds themselves back underneath them, and you're in a place where the mountains are just again ginormous, and you hear this bellowing, this this kind of a belch of the cosmos, this kind of sound that can only be made by the bear totem spirit itself. As you look down, you see this giant bear that's like I described spirits before. These Japanese calligraphy style outlines on it, completely bright, pale moonlight emanating from it, with these bright, like gemstone-like eyes as it's striding there, like scraping its claws on the side of a ginormous mountain. And the bear is pretty much the size that if the size scale of us compared to like Godzilla, that's kind of the same where Godzilla compared to this bear. Like this, it's just it's godly size. It's just gargantuous. And it's scraping its claws on the side of a mountain, causing giant avalanches as it's doing so. Just and like shaping the ground with its movements as it's just scraping or moving and puffing. Mountains move from its way as it's like terraforming this ground beneath it. And there you are gliding above it, and it lifts its head and notices you. What's going through your character's mind at this point?
Red Claw's in utter astonishment. She's never seen our tribe's spirit totem in the flesh. She's heard many of the stories that tell. She's heard many of the wonderful things that some of them have come back to tell, especially from One Fang, but never seeing it up close. This is an awe-inspiring experience. It brings ever more wonder and even more envy to her mind as to the shamanistic ways of her fellows, who are more connected to the spirit world than she ever will be in most cases. And a lot of that creates a mixture of both envy, respect, and a bit of sadness, though she is a spiritual creature in the sense that all Garu are. They all have that connection. Hers is not nearly as strong as that as others, and they get to go to this wondrous place where there is much peace at heart for her and for others of their kind. To know that such lonely creatures as the bear that we had saw earlier would be able to seek shelter here, it's just one of those things that it brings to mind of thoughts of like going to a place where you can just retreat and be at peace, and to have that primal raw connection. She's just awestruck by it, and still thinking about what happened earlier and seeing this raw power before her. She's still trying to comprehend all of this as she is feeling quite overwhelmed and filled with wonderment for the most part.
What about Curious Mind?
She's blank at this point. She's her mind is not turned off, but all the constant thoughts and things that pop in her mind constantly have all gone to the side and have now created space and room for this image that is in front of her, because the thing that we see here is clearly the most potent thing that we've ever seen and are ever likely to see. And this is just... she needs all her mental capabilities to not faint or just go crazy by the size and the shape and the sheer energy of this creature.
Yeah, and especially having spent a year in the battleground realm, this realm already by its nature itself is almost in complete, opposite of that. It's completely like been nurturing and meditative and this very like calm, serene kind of place, whereas the battleground realm was anything but. You know, it's a welcome kind of a contrast.
Yeah, so she'll try her best not to just be engulfed by this thing that she sees in front of her, this bear spirit, but also have enough mental space left to see, him not just destroying mountains and creating avalanches, but also to see that as he walks over this place, that life itself spurts up in its steps and that sort of thing. Just see the balance that this creature brings to this world.
Hmm. And what about One Fang?
One thing has been up until the point where we see the bear totem itself has been just laughing to himself, almost hysterically, just at the joy of this whole flight, which he went through before, but he wasn't quite able to process it. And whenever he had to explain it to someone, specifically like Red Claw, he spent a lot of time talking about it. It was only these disjointed things. So, he saw this large shadowy image leaping from water, or what he thought was water. Now he knows what that was, these massive reptiles and these whales, and he has a complete picture in his mind of everything that had passed, the images of the entire cosmos around him above the clouds when they're flying, which you see above us. And yeah, he's filled with joy. But then, of course, as soon as he sees the bear totem, he immediately is quiet. And he's got tears streaming from his eyes, more just from the wind blasting by, and not from crying or anything like that. But when the wind blows in your eyes enough, you get these kind of dry tears going back. And as he sees the bear, he can't help but look at Curious Mind smiling, and then he kind of looks back because he's got them behind him, and he looks back at Red Claw, and you hear him see, and he's like, "I told you, see," meaning that he's explained this 100 times, but it's always been hard for them probably to even grasp what he was trying to explain, as it's just so massive. It's beyond explanation. You can't say it's big like a mountain because it's even bigger than that. To see it is just his glory, and then his heart just fills with that bear energy that he already had, that just makes him feel so good inside. That balance that he always seems to carry with him.
Hmm. As the three of you are there, and the bear totem noticed you, you see that it goes to stand on its hind legs. It as it rises up, there's so much air resistance that as it lifts up, there's this suck of air as it gets up. All the snow on the mountaintops kind of puff up, and there's this air on its fur that's just pushing through the resistance of the air as it's standing up on its hind legs, and as it does so, the clouds above it kind of part away from all the force of wind as it's arching itself up, and as it arches itself up, these and the clouds part. Above the clouds, these northern lights, these bright neon turquoise kind of northern lights kind of spew out almost like liquid, spurring, flowing down from the parting clouds, and they completely envelop the mountain range almost like mist. Northern lights just wash over it like water or mist, just and it covers the bear's toes as it's standing on its hind legs, and it stands up, and its eyes are on your eye level, even though you're smaller than its eyeball. You're still on its eye level, and it looks up at you straight into you. For all three of you, it looks like it's looking straight into you precisely for each of you, and it says in this bellowing voice that doesn't even seem to come out its mouth. Its mouth is just doing this kind of very slow up and down kind of motion, but the sound is coming these trumpets out of the holes in the earth or something like that. It's like something bellowing, something big, and it really like it just acknowledges you saying war hearts.
Whoa.
Oh, One Fang is so blown away when he says war hearts, and in fact, he didn't even know that the totem could speak to him, at least in that manner, because he didn't speak to him last time. He just saw him and gave him a bunch of images to deal with. Um, he typical to him. He's like, I don't even know. Yeah, you know what? He's just so caught up in that he, for once, he doesn't even say anything. He just kind of floats there. I assume we've stopped. I don't know if we continue moving or not.
Yeah, you're stationary.
Yeah, stationary. Yeah, and he kind of like is at a loss for words. And he looks over at Curious Mind and then back at Red Claw, and he even like shrugs. He's like,
as you're stumped there, as you feel like the coming out of your mouth, it's like the second before that comes out of your mouth, you see a flash of fire in your in your head, like this kind of this kind of flashing image of buildings burning, just and immediately it's cut off by the bear bellowing out, "One Fang, born in flames, engulfed in flames of trauma, fed flames of passion, and engulfed in flames of days yonder shall be." And you again feel like, and you hear the screams and the horses and the laughter and the burning, and you're kind of like, and you feel like your mind is close to not being able to take it. And at that point, when Red Claw sees her friend in in distress, and you don't really hear the bell. You didn't. Only One Fang heard the actual words. The rest of you heard growling and bellowing. But immediately after that, only Red Claw hears these words, while others hear nothing but bellowing, even though One Fang is in no state of mind to comprehend no bellowing anymore anyways. Red Claw sees the bear totem turn to her, and you immediately get flashes of red. You see red blood coming out of red-furred werewolves by your red-filled clawed hand, and red smoke squeezing into your nostrils and mouth and eye holes and burning you, and you hear, "Red Claw, born in red crimson death, your days of present are filled with red crimson fear, blinding you, fogging you, clouding you of a red crimson death of days yonder." And you get these flashes of red mist burrowing into your nostrils and through your throat, and you feel red furred claws trying to claw at your mouth and nose, and you get like again, like the same sort of your brain is melting into mush. And for Curious Mind, finally the the bear turns. Well, it doesn't turn because it looks like it's been staring at you the whole time anyway. It says, "Curious mind, you whose mother I bear lots of love towards, as I bear for your mother's mother and her mother and your entire lineage all the way to Shield Maiden, who was my champion. Your lands are about to be choked to death by human smoke. All of you must make a truce between your destiny and your reality and make death bow to you." And you feel these flashes of you seeing basically this Valkyrie looking figure, this bright, this Wagner opera style figure with this helmet and this bright armor, this warrior woman with a shield and with a spear, with wings on her helm, killing red talons on familiar looking plains and on a familiar looking island, blood splurting everywhere, and all three of you hear the final words that all three of you comprehend, which is truce between your destiny and reality. and Curious Mind, final flash that you see is a Viking ship landing on a shore, and this Valkyrie leaping on top of a orange-furred werewolf wearing a kilt and a Celtic axe. And all of your minds have been squashed into mush, and your particles return back into your real physical selves, back in the penumbra at the top of the tree with the bear spirit. And that's where we'll pick up next time. And yeah, that's today's session, and I'm rewarding each of you with 5 points in experience. I'm going to give Rogier wisdom of 8 temporary points for coming to this place, meeting the bear spirit for the first time with the amount of comprehension you can have over and analyze over this, and also quote unquote saving your friend's ass by answering the bear's riddle, and all this kind of enlightened wisdom that you've gained. For Red Claw, you will gain 4 points in wisdom for your first experience with the bear, and you will gain 5 points in glory for defending your auspice pack and your honor by wrestling an elder Gural at the base of the mountain. And for John, for One Fang, I'm going to give honor of 5 temporary points. No, I'm going to give you honor of 8 temporary points. And you already had experienced the bear, so yeah, I'm just going to give you that honor 8 points, so that's even with Rogier's points. But that's what you get.
That my glory is up to 10 now.
That means you have 1 new permanent point of glory.
And all the rest of them reset to 0?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Yeah, I've gained some glory.
Yeah, well, you wrestled a war spirit in the moot. You fought the Grendel Fomori creature at the lake. And now you wrestled a Gural. So, yeah, you earned some glory there. You're a warrior. But yeah, So that the video doesn't go to like insane lengths of time. This kind of got carried away, and I think poor Roger looked kind of tired already. They're rubbing your eyes and all that.
Oh no, I'm fine. So.
Okay, then good. But yeah, I'm gonna stop the broadcast, and yeah, we'll pick up next time.